Let's call ourselves to order. It's 7:07, meeting of the West Newbury Board of Selectmen. We have an announcement. There is we're requesting proposals for a survey of historic properties in the town.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy about that either.
And our first order of business is nomination of 2 reserve officers by the police chief.
Chief?
Good evening.
Tonight I just have just a couple of quick things. First, more important of the two is the appointment of 2 reserve officers. Quick synopsis that outlines 2 candidates that I will appoint. First one is John O'Connor. Request the board to approve the appointment of John. John currently works as a security officer for Paragon Systems as a security officer. He's been there since 2015 and currently is living in Newbury, Mass. He does come to our department with some experience. For a while he worked for the Hull Police Department, just south of us. He worked there for a couple of years as a reserve officer, so we're looking forward to some of that experience that he came from Hull and bring it here to West Newbury. But as we all passed, new employees expect the field training time to probably last about 4 hours. If we can get it done through that quicker, we'll see if we need to our advantage. But right out of the gate, I expect it to be about 4 hours. Some of the things are similar to what Hull does here. Obviously, all policing is very similar, but the internal working is similar. Geography is obviously different. I'm hoping for actually both candidates that field training will hopefully be done sometime just short of Christmas.
So he's already certified reserves. That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
Yeah, both candidates tonight are already in reserve.
Oh, both of them are. Okay.
Yeah, they've already gone through the academy. One I had sponsored a number of months ago to go through working on his own. Chris has just had some previous work experience. So that's one of the things that kind of set them apart. And like I previously spoke, hoping that some of that experience would be able to be utilized right here.
How many shifts will you think be available for us?
Well, if he fulfills his promise to me, he's going to drop everything he's doing and come work for us as much as I need. I know that probably won't happen, but we're hoping the minimum that we're requesting all the new reserves since I became chief here in the town is 4 shifts a month.
Did you find that his hair's a little long with the haircut?
Excuse me?
No, I was kidding.
I didn't hear you clearly.
That he needs a haircut.
Oh.
The next candidate.
So I
Let's
move
do
to appoint John O'Connor as reserve police officer through June 30th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Second candidate is Christopher Mead. I had sponsored, Chris came to me quite a while ago with an interest to become a police officer. At that time, he was not a certified reserve officer. I had sponsored him to go to the Reserve Academy at no expense to the town. He seemed like a young man that had a great deal of interest in becoming a police officer full-time down the road. So I took a gamble. I sponsored him, and he did quite well in the Reserve Academy. And then we had a hiring process, and Chris, again, did quite well in the hiring process, which is why his name is in front of you tonight. Currently, Chris works at the Greater Newbury Port YMCA as the aquatics director, and has been employed there since 2013. And him and his family currently live local They had moved up from Columbia, South Carolina, to make their home here in New England. He is also currently in the United States Army National Guard Company 772, which is the military police. He attended the Mass Reserve Academy, as just so stated, back just this past June, graduating. Currently has no municipal training, but obviously he has his military training, and most recently graduating from the Reserve Academy. And just like all the other reserve officers, there'll be about 400 hours of field training, no different than any of the other reserve officers that have come in front of you, which I anticipate sometime around Christmas. I hope we'll be through that, and he knows, like all the other ones, there'll be at least 4 shifts a month that we're asking them to work.
Good. Any questions?
No,
I move to appoint Christopher Meade as a reserve police officer for the town of West Newbury through June 30th, 2018.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
thank you, Chief. Both
No.
very,
Sorry.
very good candidates that you brought forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just to amplify on that also, you've had a number of new reserves over the last couple of months. I think that's a good thing.
Yep, we're actually, for the first time, we're gonna start an in-house academy. The 3 prior, the last couple of weeks, have not started yet. We're all gonna start Wednesday morning. We're actually gonna try something hopefully better and different, small little in-house academy. Try to get most of all the mundane, I guess, boring stuff, as it may be, all together, all at the same time. So field training officers don't have to say it 5 times, but we only have to say it once to an audience of 5. And then once we get through, I guess, the minutia of policing, then obviously they're going to be assigned certain shifts with certain field training officers, and then they'll be off running getting trained. So we're going to try something a little bit different this time.
Good. Thank you.
So you've got a little information about a vehicle?
Yes, sir. About a couple of years ago, I think it was early part of 2015, under the leadership of the previous chief, we had secured a vehicle that was involved in some drug activity. We won the case probably about 9 months ago. The case was prosecuted through the district attorney's office, and that vehicle has been secured by the district attorney's office as well as West Newbury Police Department. I'm looking now, obviously, to sell that vehicle either at an auction or put out sealed bids, and whatever the money that we get back is split between the district attorney's office and the police department's drug forfeiture fund.
What happened? My question, you already answered it. I was going to say, has the case gone to trial? But my other question, what happens if a case goes to appeal and it gets overturned at that point?
This case has no option for appeal.
Okay.
The car is probably, in case you were wondering, it's not a Mercedes coupe worth a lot of money. I guess I envision maybe the car bringing us maybe $3,500, and then obviously split the DA's office, minus any funds that we have expended, like towing or anything like that.
And then you said it goes into
A drug forfeiture fund.
and then what can you use that money for?
That's used again for basically reinvestigating drug type cases or any other type cases that we may need to lay out money that I don't have in the budget.
Can you use that to buy things with?
Yes, I can.
But it has to do with drug enforcement.
Not necessarily, I guess in the,
Or regular police do.
excuse me?
Or does it have to do?
It could be, so long as it's used for law enforcement, in the fight against, I guess, drug activity. It could be, I guess, buying guns or.
Which in theory, everything really is police.
There you go.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
No more questions. Okay,
I
so
would-
we have to vote to make.
I
we
would
have to
make-
vote to make the surplus.
Yes, either make it surplus or give me the ability to put it out on a bid, either one, whatever the town likes to do.
We have we have something in place that Andy's already working on. I would actually do it that way. We seem like they got the best return on that state bid thing.
Do we know which is a better return?
No, the only thing we know is the previous ones we were using, like that Council on Aging van, they were gonna get 2,000 for, and then,
How do we know which one's better, I guess, because
you don't, you only can do it by past history,
Yeah.
because you have to go one way or the other. And we got 10 grand instead of the 2 they were offering for it in the other way.
I mean, I don't know about either, much about either one.
All I'm saying is that we made a vote that all things have to be done that way.
We did.
And I would like to keep it doing that way, and keep it in the same pattern, unless there's a compelling reason not to.
Your thoughts, Chief?
Consistency, I think, is best so everybody understands. So when something gets traded in, and all of a sudden somebody goes, "Oh, I didn't know, you didn't do it that way."
Yeah, no, I understand. Did you have any? Doesn't matter.
I've done it the opposite way, but I just want it gone, so.
Doesn't matter.
I'd be
just looking for
curious to see what it,
consistency, that's it.
Okay, fine, that's fine.
We did make that call a few years ago.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
We did say that, you're right.
that's all
So
I have.
I would vote. Do you have to vote to make this surplus? Is this now? What do you do? Because the other thing is you have to take a vote to make it surplus, but it's already considered surplus through this program, through the DA's office. So is he just making us aware of it? Then we just have to use this proper protocol to disperse of it, and then distribute the money to the DA and to us. Is that who does it? We handle the money, and
We handle
just
the
give
money.
whatever the half is, we give to them.
Correct.
Want to do it that way?
Yeah.
That's fine.
And just make, now who does all that paperwork? Do you want to have Mike do all that paperwork, or do you do that paperwork? No, when we cut the check, this is something new. We always just do it and it goes into our general fund.
No,
Now,
no, it won't go into the general fund.
I know, I said,
It'll go
That-
into like a grant. It'll get treated like a grant, and then we'll just pay it out from there.
When it gets sold, for whatever it gets sold for, I'll do obviously a memo to obviously Andy to explain, okay, well, Andy will probably know before I do how much money we get.
Yeah.
And then we'll cut a check to.
that's all I'm saying. That aspect of it, we've never done before. After selling it, the logistics of making sure that the district attorney gets their check and we get ours. Whatever happens, happens. Just,
Treat it like any other bill.
That'll be easy. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
So, that's it. Got it. Okay, so I make a motion that we, handle this the same as we've been handling all the other surplus and, get it taken care of. And Andy's on vacation, but I would ask you get the paperwork to him, because there's a few other things that I haven't seen the paperwork about. And I'd like to have an update from Andy on this at our next meeting.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Thanks, Chief.
That's all I have for the board, unless the board has something.
No, just good job on, National Night Out, very well attended, and
Just
Thanks for the kudos. It wasn't because of the help of obviously the fire department, Rose track team, and a lot of the other people behind the scenes, my administrative assistant Sue Curry, because of all those people that obviously made it another success. So thank you for the kudos. Appreciate it.
very good. One thing, Chief, we did get. I'll forward you the email tomorrow. We did get some correspondence related to resident complaining about some excessive speed on Ash Street. So just for your info.
As you know, you've seen me personally up there.
I know. Okay.
I'll be watching for you, Dave.
make sure the new reserve officers realize I generally drive black Suburban or white. I'm kind of large. Around 5 o'clock in the morning, I haven't had my coffee from the food mart, so sometimes I go a little fast on Garden Street. I mean, not Garden, on Church Street.
Okay.
Okay.
I'll make sure they
Thank
put a
you.
bullseye on it for you.
That's a good answer. I don't think anyone's here from open space.
Congratulations,
Patricia's,
gentlemen.
Just saw it. He is?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Welcome.
coming. Is Patricia Reese here?
Patricia, I saw her. Yeah. Hi, Patricia. Come on up.
Oh, there you are. I didn't see you. You're hiding back there.
So I think you want to talk to me about open space appointments.
Open space what?
Appointments?
Right. I have to say, I didn't quite understand what we're trying to do here. So just give us a little information.
So Jennifer Germain, who was a longtime full-time member, elected not to ask to be reappointed this year.
Okay.
Which opened up a full-time position. Brad Boucher, who's been an associate member for a number of years, was interested in filling it. I think he's.
We didn't already do that?
I thought, yeah, we were doing 61A tonight, right?
Well, they were both on the email that you sent me.
Well, we have appointments on the agenda tonight, so why can't we do it while we're here? Do both.
I thought that's why I was here, and then I asked to just come up with another matter after you told me that we were talking about appointments.
Right, Brad Busher, he's a existing member, he doesn't have a,
He doesn't, yeah,
so
conflict of
we
interest.
can't appoint him tonight.
Oh, you told me that you have. I sent it to you.
Yeah, well,
Okay, I'll remind you. Which leaves an associate, one associate member. I think you just appointed Martin Switzer at your last
Yes.
meeting as an associate member. So it leaves one open associate member.
So there's two associates?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Do you have anybody in mind?
I've had interest from a number of people, two people who are already on boards, and then two people who contacted me directly.
Anybody suggest?
I haven't met the other two.
Oh.
So I don't know.
received anything yet.
Yeah.
Excuse me?
I
You need to
haven't
speak right into that one.
I haven't received anything at the office from anyone.
Yeah, one of the potential candidates said that she was out of the country until I think late August or early September.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so I understand this, so, Mr. Boucher, did we appoint him already?
No, we did not.
No.
Actually, I just
Because
looked.
you're missing his.
Conflict of interest.
Council, yeah.
Can we appoint him, with the stipulation that he has to get that?
Nope.
No.
Can we put it on can we make sure he gets it done and put it on our next
Yeah.
agenda?
Oh, appointments are on every agenda,
Yeah.
so it's kind of in.
Okay.
Okay, I see. Okay, so it's sort of like a rolling.
Yes, it is.
So on 61A, just briefly.
You should talk into that microphone a little bit louder.
Yeah, move it closer.
So move it
Sorry.
closer, 'cause you're gonna get
Better?
complaints.
So on 61A, there have been a couple events in the last couple of years that, in our mind, in the mind of the Open Space Committee, kind of frustrate the purpose of giving the town a meaningful opportunity to purchase what's identified as a valuable so-called priority parcel. And more often, landowners are subdividing their property and then selling off pieces of it piecemeal. So that the Open Space Committee and no other organization is necessarily interested in
2 acres of
in 2
30.
acres out of the 30 that
Yep.
was the priority parcel. So in discussion with the committee, one of the things that we thought might be helpful is to get as much advance notice as possible when it looks like a landowner is contemplating a sale or conversion of their property from agricultural or horticultural, whatever, to a different use, obviously residential. And the first red flag in our mind would be if they didn't seek to have the property renewed as a 61A property, which I guess happens in October of every year
With the assessors.
with the assessor's office.
Yeah, you have to do it annually?
I don't know the rules,
Okay.
but apparently the most.
Do you have to
apparently-
do it annually?
It's annual?
Unless it's forestry, which is every 10 years.
Okay.
Thank you.
So.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, that's
It
good.
was germane to the conversation.
It is. So what the committee had asked me to ask you guys to do was to have the Board of Assessors notify, if not you, then the Open Space Committee, send out a list annually so that we could actually compare what properties had failed to renew their Chapter 61 status annually. Because the town's right of first refusal to convert or to sell runs from the date that the property is taken out of that tax designation.
No, I don't think so. But we'll get an answer to that, but I don't think that.
Can you repeat that question?
Mi-
Yeah, I think you're right, but
Mike, listen to this.
So the way I read this is that the town's right of first refusal runs from the time the property is removed from the gives it that special tax sale.
So they have to reapply 61A annually. So if they don't apply in October for 61A, if they don't reapply, that means that starts our first right of refusal, that time period. I thought it was with a purchase and sale. So she's saying that they want to be notified because the time is ticking at that point.
The first paragraph of section 14 says, land taxed under this chapter shall not be sold for or converted to residential, industrial, or commercial use while so taxed, or within 1 year after that time, unless the city or town in which the land is located has been notified of the intent to sell or to convert. So it's just that, the way I read it, it's that 1 year period after the property is removed from the 61A designation that the landowner is obligated to give us the notice of intent to sell or notice of intent to convert.
Okay.
Just, that's not the opinion of the DOR or pretty much anyone else.
So when do they think
The 1 year starts, well, the 1 year starts, meaning for the time that, yes, if you take it out and you don't hold it for a year, and if you don't sell it or you convert it, meaning you just simply say, okay, I don't want the benefit anymore.
Right.
Then, and 1 year goes by, then there's no more right of first refusal.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I mean. So,
Yeah, but we can't, but we don't have, but the right of first refusal isn't triggered. It doesn't exist.
No, the right of first refusal isn't, but the right to attempt to purchase the property is. And it's triggered by the landowner serving notice of intent to convert. And I know I've exchanged emails with Mike on this any number of times, so the question.
But you have the opportunity to buy, we have the opportunity to buy it at any time.
No, well,
Yes, you do.
no, well, I mean, no.
If they want to sell it at any time, they could sell it at any time. But, so.
This is different. It's triggered by two things. It could be triggered by that within that 1 year period, they decide that they want to sell the property and they come and they give you the purchase and sale agreement.
Correct.
They have. Okay, that's the normal way in which it happens, right? But there's a second way, and that is it's triggered by the landowner's notice of intent to change the use, so-called to convert. And what's interesting is if you don't get a notice of intent to convert from the landowner, which is a voluntary thing, obviously, then that triggers that whole procedure where the town can elect to go get an appraisal, and then the landowner has the right to get an appraisal, and then the parties either agree or they choose a third appraiser, and at that point, the town actually has the right to purchase the property.
Rick, did you want to say something?
Please don't speak without a microphone. You have to come up here.
So all I wanted to point out was that the difficulty that we're having is we're watching these properties come out of 61A, and then we're slowly seeing indicia of the intent to change the use of the property. The landowner never sends the notice of intent to convert to the selectmen, and so until that purchase and sale agreement comes in the door, the town never had the opportunity to have a discussion of, do we seriously want to try to buy this property, and do we want to do it before somebody else comes in with the purchase and sale agreement? So what I'm here to put before you is that this section 14 talks about having the municipality having the option to purchase the land in the case of an intended conversion or a determined conversion. So although not re-upping on your 61A designation in and of itself is not an intent to convert, or even stopping farming is not a notice of intent to convert. If you take a series of indicia, like subdividing your property, getting perk tests on your property, having a listing agreement with an agent for your property, at some point in time along that continuum, even though you haven't received the formal notice of intent to convert, I think it's fair that the board could make a determination that there is an intent to convert the property. And if it's a priority parcel, and if going through your protocol that we enacted a couple of years ago, it's determined that it's a piece of property that we don't want to let go by without an attempt, to purchase it, then at that point in time, we don't have to wait for a purchase and sale agreement to come in. That's
Well, for any chapter land, when you go into chapter land, you put a deed restriction on. It's registered with the Registry of Deeds, so this isn't just something through the Board of Assessors office. Coming out of chapter land is a sale or converting it to non-chapter use. You can take it out of chapter land and continue it as agricultural, and it doesn't trigger anything, and you just slowly, over 5 years, there's a 5-year rollback on taxes, and you just kind of pay the taxes for, full taxes for 5 years, and you've worked the whole thing off.
Okay, wait.
Sure, go ahead.
My question was about that. But I think we're all in agreement with that. But I think open space, correct me if I'm wrong. So if they don't re-up, okay, they don't re-up to chapter 7, to 61A, and they don't have a purchase and sale, they have no intention, they don't re-up, but then in 2 years, right, they could just start subdividing that.
They can do it in one
Year.
day.
They could do it the next day. Okay, well, I was just, okay, yeah, whatever. They forget about the year. They could just start subdividing that, and then a 30-acre portion, two, and so I think the open space just wants to know, just one time a year, if somebody doesn't re-up, if you could just send the open space and the selectmen that list, so they can look at that list and say, okay, these people haven't re-upped 61A. Now, is there a time period? No, if they don't re-up in that annual period, do we have some? What was that 1 year? Do we have
1 year from the time, I guess, your October deadline.
Mm-hmm.
From the time they don't re-up on the Chapter 61, that 1 year period is the only period within which the town has the option to purchase or the right of first refusal. So that's why it's kind of important to know as soon as possible when that 1 year period starts. If it's a valuable parcel that, either the committee or the town has an interest in, we need to know sooner rather than later. And I think it's a gap in our knowledge base right now.
And we have, in that 1 year, we have the right for the whole parcel, but whatever was in 61A.
Correct, that's right.
So they can't
The whole parcel?
Yeah, well, whatever was in 61A, because they
Whatever
could,
they took out.
if it was 30, if it was
Whatever they took out, you mean, not
Yes.
the whole thing?
Well, if they took out the whole thing, it would be the whole thing, or if they took out 15 acres out of 30 acres, we would have the right of first refusal.
Whatever it is.
Now, hold on for 1 second. Now, let me ask another question. So we have 30 acres, that's in 61A. Can they then, on the October deadline with the assessors, can they say, well, we only want to have 28 acres going forward?
Right.
Yeah, so they could do it that way.
Provided they had.
2 acres, 2 acres. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, then it would still, they're only taking, so we would only have those 2 acres. So if it was something like on the outer town, you need 2 acres, 200 feet, 2 acres.
Assuming that's the way they wanted to sell their property.
Yeah.
I mean, the one point of difference is that, and I understand, and I sympathize with her interpretation, when someone begins to plan and put subdivisions on, get perk tests, that evidences a notice to convert. Unfortunately, the DOR and most of the individual state state that the intention to convert does not accrue until this actual physical something. So when he gets the building permit, then, so it would be.
As long as the land was still in 61A. So you're saying.
No, even if they take it out.
But then what's with the 1 year thing? Then I'm
Then it
baffled.
basically is that if that 1 year they take it out, and let's suppose they do nothing, they just take it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? The 1 year goes by, the right of first refusal goes by. Let's say in that 1 year, they get an A&R plan approved, they do perk tests, but that's it. They don't sell anything, they don't build anything. The 1 year is as if they did nothing. It's not yet that, she made an interpretation of like, you can have an anticipated, kind of like a de facto notice to convert by their actions. And what the state is saying is that only occurs when you actually convert, when you start.
Well, I understand that, but
I understand the law
I don't
says
think
that,
it really
but that's
matters,
the
because we still have the 1 year. Does it really care what they do to the land? So when they take it out of 61A, or they don't re-up for 61A in October, we have a year no matter what they do
No,
to
we
it.
don't have a right of first refusal.
No.
We don't have
But
any.
we did.
No.
It's triggered
By
triggered
converting.
by their notice of intention to convert the use.
They have to send you the notice.
But this is the clear language of the statute. The statute says it's an or. It's a disjunctive. It's an intended conversion or determined conversion. And, based on what Mike's saying, the use of the word or determined conversion has no meaning unless this board makes the determination that this is obviously a converted use. This is no longer intended to be used for agricultural uses. So that's
And we would
why-
lose in court because there's no building permit or purchase and sale. That's what you're
Well,
saying.
If that's the case, then there's no sense in the notion of having an option to purchase a property when the property is intended to be converted. It makes no sense. There's no point in this part of the statute.
No one ever said the law had to make sense.
Well,
And this also is probably not the right place to change the law. Go to the legislature. Meredith has this book, Chapter 60 Programs, and she has a whole stack of them. So if anyone wants to read it, that'll give you a lot more information on the chapter land. And page 17 is a whole page on the right of first refusal. One thing, you can have land in chapter land and build a house for your child or for a family member, and that doesn't trigger the right to first refusal either. So there are other exceptions in here.
So if nothing else tonight, you would like at least, maybe that list is whatever, but one time a year, it would be nice for you to get a list, somebody who doesn't re-up.
as soon as the deadline passes.
As soon as
Is
that
possible?
Now,
Yeah, why
there are confidentiality provisions on some of this information. I don't know where that line is, and Mike just
Well,
ran
no,
out.
that's public knowledge.
It
Who's
would
in
have to be
60,
public
That's public
information.
record. It's yeah.
Parcels are in 61A.
yeah, it's public, whoever's in or who's not in 61A is public information.
I would think it would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, public information.
Mike, do you know what the confidentiality provisions are? I know that's a concern of Meredith's on the 61A.
It's very simple. Who's in 61A is public knowledge. So if you take your land out of public, if you take your
But
land out of 61A,
but
it's
any of
public
the-
knowledge.
Any of the background information, that's confidential.
It's not a public record.
Correct.
It's not a public record.
And not, so I think that would
But
be
I
just
mean,
one
it's
time
one
a year.
that's registry of deeds, so.
Right.
When they're in, but
It's only one time. How many
So-
parcels, if we have 50 parcels, and then in October at the end of the deadline, only 47 re-up, we just send an email to the Board of Selectmen and the Open Space Committee and say, listen, parcel 1, Main Street, Coffin Street, and Middle Street has not re-up. That's it.
Let's just,
And you
it's-
do what you want with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm asking.
basically, we just want better communication, that's all.
Right.
Is that okay? Is that something we can
It's-
do?
So is that something I need to go to the assessors about?
No. Is that something we can do?
if it's public record, I'm sure Meredith could do that. It's a little additional work for them, but
I mean,
Yeah.
they have to do it, the deadline is there every day, they have to do the checks and balances anyway, so whoever doesn't, I mean, you have the information, it would be just,
Right, there must be a master list.
there has
yeah.
to be a master list, and the ones come in and pay the deadline, whatever that it is, and then you could send it to the selectmen, and then we would send it to, the Open Space Committee. I'd make a motion to that.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Have a great day. Have you found that? Okay, never mind. We've got a long meeting on that.
We gotta move through stuff.
Okay, Energy Committee.
There's only one seat up there.
What happened? You don't have a cast, you don't have a sling?
No. Wait a second, let me go on, I can find something in the car.
So I know you have a busy agenda. We just wanted to give you a couple of updates. The two items we originally put on the agenda, one was a new program, Mass Heat Smart program. It's like the Solarize Mass program, except it has 4 heating and cooling technologies in it. And the city of Newburyport reached out to us. They were wondering whether we would be interested in applying for the program with them. It's a pilot program. And Rick and I attended a webinar today to get some more information on it. And I guess our update is that our recommendation is that we not apply for the program. Newburyport was interested in bringing us in their application because West Newbury appears on the state map as a high-cost fuel town relative to the other towns in the region. It means that 80% or more of the town heat with high-cost fuel sources, propane, oil, electric. So that makes your application more desirable. But the reason we are recommending that we not, and this is a pilot program, so we have to apply and be the one they pick. But we thought the pilot probably didn't make sense for us because of the 4 technologies, which is geothermal or ground source heat pump, air source heat pump, solar, thermal, and the other is what they call it, high efficiency heating with wood. We didn't think that those would be particularly necessarily attractive to West Newbury residents.
Yeah, it just, well, there was also the reason that this is a trial, and given the questionable applicability for us, it maybe doesn't make sense to jump into the trial, because even though, we are a community with approximately 80% people who heat with either oil, propane, or electric, it would be a significant investment in time, and it's questionable whether or not it'll really make sense to go through the program. So, just combined effect.
And the other factor is that Newburyport has recently applied for another solarized program that also has an air source heat pump component in it, and they're inviting surrounding communities to participate in that program. So that would be offered to the residents of West Newbury through their program. So for this, sorry for the long, the narrative, but that was our recommendation.
Okay.
And the reason we put it on the agenda is it had a pressing deadline. The other is that you recall that we came a little while ago and talked about applying for a grant to do a feasibility study for a resiliency campus here.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
We did apply for that grant. Those grants were being submitted on a rolling basis, and by the time we got our application in, they had already given out all the money that was available. So we did not get that grant. However, there is another program coming up that's sort of like Green Communities called Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness Program. It's another state program. The next round of grants is likely to be next spring, and it is the kind of program that if the town goes through some planning steps in terms of looking at where it's vulnerable in terms of storm events and going through kind of a planning training for that, then they'll be in the position to apply for grants similar to Green Communities grant. And it looks like, Rick and I think at least, that the idea of doing the resilient campus might be something that would be eligible for grant funding through that program. In fact, it was suggested that we look at this program by people in the state. They thought our application might fit better there. So I think what we wanted to do is just raised that as a possibility, that we're looking into that. And because it's more of a municipal preparedness type of topic, it's not strictly a green, energy committee, that we would probably want to reach out to the chief and to Gary Bill and,
Emergency management.
Emergency management,
yeah,
yeah.
emergency, and tell them, this is a possibility, and do you have any interest in, our looking into it and pursuing it?
Well, if you think it is, if you think it's a good thing, we just say do it.
Yeah, actually, just to clarify something, it's referred to as the MVP program, Municipal Vulnerability Preparedness. And the program does not actually include grants for the type of project we were talking about potentially to be done here for municipal campus, for
It
sort of
doesn't.
energy secure. What it does is it's basically an assessment of municipal vulnerability, so that there's apparently a standardized process that I don't think we know at all at this point, and we'll have to learn. But there's a standardized process for assessing your community's vulnerabilities, and it's primarily focused on climate change, and assessing the community's vulnerabilities, and just sort of stepping through the process to understand where your potential vulnerabilities are, and then defining those. And then, of course, you have to think about, well, how do I deal with them? That's the next step. So the MVP program is strictly that assessment to define the vulnerabilities and understand.
Okay, so we do a lot of data gathering. What's the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow?
Well, that alone, that assessment alone should be useful, a useful tool from the standpoint.
But
of
we're going to do all the work, really, finding the info out, just sort of farming it back to them, right? Or
well, they do fund a consultant. They fund the people to do that assessment.
They do that. Okay.
We have to understand the process more leading up to applying.
So it's not like you get the fund and you say, you need a generator, you need this, you need that, and you're gonna get a grant for that.
No, that's
I think that's
hopefully later.
They're going to tell you need a generator or you don't, or whatever.
Right, or this might be a reasonable program, more comprehensive program to follow that would include this portion of your town or your buildings.
So you're asking us if it's okay for you to reach out to some
we
people to see if they have any interest?
That nobody says that the world's flat, and or something like that, something completely silly.
I don't think I have a problem with you guys reaching out to people to see if they have interest, and if they do, no problem, right?
Yep, I would agree.
So it'd be the chief, the fire chief, DPW, and I would say
emergency,
Leanne, emergency management. No problem.
Okay.
Have
And
at it.
I did think that had it then qualified you for grants that came after that. But,
Well, it puts you in a better position for grants later.
the third thing was the street light.
Yeah, the streetlight. So Mike and myself and our Green Communities Regional guy and a couple people from National Grid met 3 or 4 weeks ago just to go over the Green Communities competitive grant that we were awarded to make sure we had all of our ducks in a row. And because the utilities providing incentives and they need to make sure everything's set. Anyway, so we had this meeting. At the end of the meeting, the National Grid folks said, hey, we have this, there is this streetlight buyback program that you might want to explore. It's probably in your best interest. Other communities are doing it, have done it. Newburyport's done it.
What is it?
And so what it is that you essentially purchase your streetlights. Okay, currently we pay an annual fee, and it's probably based on per streetlight. I don't know the structure of the contract currently, but we have 2 or 3 different accounts. We pay for essentially the lease and operation maintenance of streetlights, of the currently relatively inefficient streetlights. And in this program, there is what they do is they calculate the buyout program or the buyout price for the lights, which literally could be as low as $1. Probably won't, but it literally, because they're all depreciated. And then the town would purchase streetlights, and then there are follow-up programs and incentives to purchase LED streetlights as alternatives. So
We don't have that many streetlights though, right?
I think we have 100, and if I remember right, this is a fuzzy number, but I think I recall a number of something like 140 scattered around town.
We spend about 12 grand a year on streetlights.
So,
How much does a street light cost?
well, if they're $1, then it would be
No. Then we have to buy new ones, you said.
Yeah, so there
Then we
are
own them.
incentives for that, and Archie, I kind of would like at some point to take a look at the numbers for the streetlights, because I've never really had access to that information. That would be valuable information to look
You
at.
get that probably from, if it's a contract, it would go to get it from the town accountant, that is the purveyor of all our contracts,
Okay.
and in the bills, right?
Yeah, we've asked for the street light inventory from National Grid, but I'd like to take a look at the contracts themselves. It would be good to have that as background.
It's public record, just ask the accountant for it.
And
Okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then, but in answer to your question, which I think was you're thinking, well, does this really make sense from a financial standpoint? Well, we don't know yet. We haven't really studied it.
Check it out.
But they're also, we have demonstrated some interest in this community in reducing our carbon footprint.
Okay.
And this would be a significant step in that
I think
direction.
it's a great idea.
I think it's excellent.
Oh, it's excellent, but, okay.
Check out, see if
Check it out.
work out.
Yeah, the numbers, okay, yeah.
It's
Or is
also-
this a way
it's
of
also
National
better
Grid
quality
getting rid of
light.
old streetlights that they don't have to maintain anymore,
Well,
and then for us to buy them?
and they have something in excess of a 20-year life.
Look, yeah.
So,
If you can look into it, bring us back the numbers,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it's, okay, fine. And you'd get that from the accountant? And you have our permission to go and ask
Yeah,
her
okay.
for, the contract, well, it's public record anyway, all contracts.
Okay.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
You too. Thanks for coming in.
What? It's gonna be what?
Me? To explain, I'm the one who asked to put this on.
Okay.
The planning board?
I asked to put this on.
Okay, our next item, there was a little, controversy about the number and placement of the, parking
Okay,
lot
so I-
at the
thanks-
car post.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I asked to put this on. When we granted the curb, if we could have Mike come up here too, that would be great. Mike, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
I think we put the cart before the horse because we had made a negotiation with people of Drake's Landing on the number of parking spots that we thought that would be beneficial for the town in allowing them to have a curb cut on town property. And then we signed our names to an application so they could do that. But I think we put the cart before the horse because that process of the number of parking spots goes through a site plan review. So I think it was lack of communication with basically the planning board, the board of selectmen, and you could even say conservation because we're all kind of in this together. So what could happen is that we negotiated a radius curb cut, whatever you want to call it, and send it into the state with a joint application, and then we might not be receiving what we thought we were going to receive. There's the potential for that. The planning board have asked one of us, or all of us, to come to the meeting on next Tuesday to discuss why we need 12 spots behind the car post. So that's where we are right now. So hypothetically, we might not be able to get those spots. So then in turn, then our application to the state, is null and void because we're not getting, but I think, again, that statement is a little bit cart before the horse because we're not sure. So that's where we're at on this. We need better communication, obviously, because this was subject to a site plan review. And we approved something in negotiation, and an application with our names on it was sent to the state, and we might not now even get what we want. We don't know what we're going to get. Do we have a problem? So, all of us or one of us can go, I'll be glad to go, to the planning board meeting next week and say the reasons why, and we can come up with them, and I would represent all of us, reasons why we asked for 12, and what we did, obviously, because we wanted as many, we wanted as many parking spots as we could get for,
A public building.
for a public building, exactly.
Or we're losing our parking in the front,
Yep.
basically.
Yep. And there was concern that you can see we have correspondence here, was concerned by the neighbors who was at that planning board meeting last week, that there's gonna be a parking lot, 10 feet from the lot line. So the planning board listened.
Right.
So, so what are our options, Mike? Obviously, go to the planning board and figure what their intention is, and then what happens
Well,
if?
I mean, we look at what is our status, I think is the first thing.
Okay.
Is that you look at and you say, well, the board has, in my mind, an agreement with the developer that they will give their approval for, to put a curb in front of their frontage, not in the street, not on their property, not on the town property. In return for, the development of that area in accordance with a particular plan, C1.11. And so, there's we, the town, gave, a right in return for, it's a contract, as far as I see. And,
So if that contract is not
you
met,
have to
met
comply with
because
the
of
contract.
another board, then the contract is null and void.
Well,
I'm asking.
all the ramifications that would constitute a contract that would be breached would be in play.
And then what
I
would
think
it?
he's saying there's a contract in place, is what he's saying.
Yep. And then what would we have
One
to
of
do?
our options would be,
Yeah.
our options would be basically to say, well, we can rescind our approval.
But we've already given the approval and signed a document of that, stating that.
Yeah,
So
but
do we
we said-
send another letter to the state and say that we rescind our approval?
Or put it on hold?
Rescinding is-
Should we put it on hold in the interim, or?
Rescission is one of the remedies for breach of contract. Because I look at this as purely as a contract. They asked for something, you said, we'll give it to you on, with this, on this condition, and everyone agreed.
But there is no breach yet because there has
That's right.
there has no vote been taken. But I'm just saying that we put the cart before the horse. So does everything start? There is a point where it might be too late. That's my point. So if it's a contract, I'm negotiating for the town, or one of the three that are negotiating for the town. So I have to make sure that the town's leverage is not gone by. So-
You'd get a remedy one way or the other.
Excuse me?
You'd get a remedy one way or the other. I mean, there'd be some remedy that would have to be afforded.
I understand that, but when we have the leverage, it's always better to
Well,
negotiate with leverage. I'm told.
That's negotiation, not.
So, what Archie mentioned, do we send something to the state and put it on hold, or say that we?
It's up to you.
Well, how long does this process take?
I have no idea. That I don't know.
Okay.
I don't see why it wouldn't be a good idea, this could take more than just next week. Maybe we send them 2 sentences and say, can you put this on hold for, don't necessarily approve this curb cut immediately. Let's put it on hold until you hear back from us, to the state. I don't know, that's what I
Do
would.
they even accept stuff like that?
You can always ask. I don't know.
We'll know
That's
better.
the first time that, it'd probably be a unique situation for them.
Well, we know better. We learned from this that we should not have done this, and we should have known the process. But, so we're gonna try to do the best we possibly can for the town.
But was there not a parking area designated already?
Yes.
We just moved it a little bit.
But
Well,
because of the
originally-
site plan review law, we can talk about it all night. planning board has every right to approve the site plan or not approve the site plan. So they could approve, they could disapprove,
They can put 0.
they could put 0, they could put 5, they could put 9. They could say, you know, they want to hear from us. So that it just triggered me in the head. And oh my God, what if they, you know, we negotiated all this stuff. It was like over 3 meetings.
Well, if they say 0, there's no reason to do a curb cut, because then we don't have any parking.
Well, I understand that, but I'm just saying that they could say 9, they could say 8, and then that throws our contract and breach of contract. I'm just saying that we should have, as the Board of Selectmen, we didn't realize that. At least we learned from this for next time. That, you know,
Right.
we don't, it's all
I agree.
contingent, it should have been contingent on any other approvals.
It should have been a joint discussion.
Yep.
Okay.
So the question is, do we wait until next Tuesday, so it's a week from tomorrow, or do we, Archie mentioned about sending a letter to the state saying that we were a little too early, in, granting this application. It's a joint application, if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
A joint.
Joint
From the-
application for that radius and that curb cut is from
From the
the developer and
and
from us.
It's up to the board.
In case we don't come to an agreement next week, I would,
Which is fairly likely that we will not.
right, I would make a recommendation that we,
Go ahead and make a motion.
make a motion to, write a couple sentences to DOT and put that,
And have Mike at least
thing on,
look into it.
put it in abeyance for, at least for the short term.
Second.
What do you think, Glenn?
Yeah.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
Thank you, Mike.
Our next item on the agenda is a lodging application for Mr. Hodson. Since we put it on hold at the last selectmen's meeting, there were a couple of conditions that had been wanted to be addressed by the building inspector, some deck repairs and ceiling repairs to a carport, excuse me. The building inspector reevaluated those and said they were now acceptable. So it seems like all the hoops from the various boards have been addressed, and leave it up to the, open it up for discussion. So this is a new application for a lodging house at 15 Norino Drive.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was the person, I felt the application was not complete, so I asked that we hold it off till it was complete. Now it is complete, that we can review it. Thank you.
My first comment was that we got some additional information from Mr. Hodgson and from today from the health agent.
Quite honestly, Mr. Chairman, I don't even think that's pertinent to this conversation.
Okay. I mean, I just wanted to.
Those are just rules and regulations, and we when we were drafting this, we needed something as a basis point, and that's what we used. So I guess we used them just because, I think. So
Well,
it really never.
Well, I know. All I'm saying is I'd like to stick to the to the number of what we're discussing is there are all the houses in the town are defined as the number of bedrooms and the septic system, how it matches up with the number of bedrooms. And
I think that, and when determining the license, that's why I said we shouldn't even be discussing this. is that we just needed some type of point that we needed to start, like how many people would we let come into a home? And so we just used bedrooms.
Correct.
Right.
That's it. I mean, I want to keep it as simple as that. We used bedrooms because that was a good starting point.
But,
So
but I don't want it to be not a starting point. I don't want to get into well, some people have a bigger bedroom than someone else.
No,
or-
I agree with
yeah.
you. I'm just saying.
We're talking about the septic system, not the size of rooms.
Yeah, that's
Right,
it. Yeah,
so,
exactly.
so I would, so if a house is defined as having 3 bedrooms, we made our definition as that
That's it.
qualifies as a maximum of 2 people
That's it.
per bedroom, and.
We brought up septic systems.
we-
We were naive in the sense that we just didn't. We needed a starting point in the
But,
sense
but,
that.
but we can't go around measuring everybody's stairways and
No.
the size of bedrooms and stuff, so.
That's not
we-
the regulations, it's the
Correct.
size of the
Correct.
septic.
So we want to just maintain that as septic bedrooms times 2 is the maximum number of people.
A point of clarification, so in a 4-bedroom septic design, we also said that the owners count as 1 bedroom. So if you have a 4-bedroom house, that would leave 3 times 2 people, that would be 6 people in a 4-bedroom house. So
And if they had
in this
children,
case, it's-
if they had children,
in this case, it's 6, so it's 5 we're talking about.
That's correct.
I think that point got lost.
So
6 times 2 is 12, less the owners would be 10. That's what the regulations say.
Yeah, and I don't think
what I'd like to do.
basically, we don't want to change that.
What I'd like to do, exactly. What I'd like to do is let's talk about this application. See if we have any questions about it. I would, Mr. Chairman, if there's anybody here that wants to speak on it with new information.
New information.
Something new that we already have. I think that.
And briefly, yeah.
I feel that we are very well versed on this and the history of it and everything that's gone on. So I don't want to start bringing that stuff in, and I would ask that it would be in a civil manner on every account, and just talk about this. Does anybody have any comments about the application?
I don't.
No, I don't have any comments.
Okay.
Well, it's up.
Yep.
One second. Well, I'm sorry, I'm not the chairperson.
Yes,
Well,
you
we're
have,
gonna open it up with new stuff.
is this new info?
It's really not, but I'm a neighbor of Colin, right? I would just like to have my piece of
Okay. Just
Your name and address.
your name and address, yeah.
I'm Rosemary Carboni. I live at 16 Moreno Drive. And Colin and Ryan are very nice people. And most of my neighbors are in this room right now. And I do not like confrontation whatsoever. But I also don't like a bunch of strangers in my neighborhood that I'm spending taxes on. That's the reason I came to West Newbury, as well as my neighbors. And I don't think it's right to have 10 people, 10 strangers, going back and forth. Now, I don't know how we came to that number. I thought we were gonna have 4, like 2 people and 2 bedrooms, 4 people.
Based on the septic design.
But that's why.
But I don't want to. I'm sorry. I don't want to get into that. You might want to get into, just for everybody in the room, so we don't get this thing. There are 2 different There's 2 different things. We have Mike. You want to explain? Would you mind?
We're talking about 1 to 3 and 4.
Yeah, we have 1 to 3.
2 different size buildings,
Yeah,
basically.
so it's 1 to 3, or so that's why people might have been misguided. I'm not saying you are, but if you've heard that, there is one where there's 1 to 3 where there is no real application that's approved by us, but you just have to submit something to the selectmen saying that you're doing it.
So at a recent town meeting, the town created lodging house regulations basically for houses with 4 or more bedrooms, okay? And that's what this is how the application applies to houses that are of residences of that size, that people that want to create an Airbnb or bed and breakfast, that type of situation. And so, in terms of the numbers, to state it again, so we had to come up with some way of figuring out what is the number of people that can be comfortably or legally or whatever. We had to come up with a number, some way that wouldn't be so onerous to figure out every single time someone made an application. So we simply took the septic approved number of bedrooms in a house. Someone could say, well, my basement's a bedroom, but it's not if it wasn't on the septic plan. So the septic system defines how many bedrooms a house has, and we simply subtracting the owners of a house from that to the occupants. Yeah, whatever.
So your point is you
My
don't
point
like
is,
that many
Yeah,
people?
you
So-
don't want, you don't want that many
Yeah.
people.
Right.
Is there anything
Well
else?
done, well done.
So that's where we came up with that, with the numbers, okay.
Okay.
Right, but,
Point
Go
taken.
ahead.
Thank you, Rose.
Thanks so much.
Mr. Chairman, at this time, I'd like to make a motion to deny this application. My reasoning is, almost what Rose said, all along. The past history of this particular house, having too many people, having an out for fee, I don't think that, this many people are suitable for a neighborhood. And, I don't think it's very conducive for the traffic, for the safety, and the disruption of a neighborhood. That's the reason why I'm gonna make a motion to deny this application. By denying this, it still gives the homeowners the right to have up to three boarders in their home under the current statute.
Yes. Second.
Discussion. I feel that the request that Mr. Hodgson made for 16 or plus people is, he's requesting a total of 16 lodgers. And I'm completely against that. But I feel that the application, I feel that the house was designed as a 5-bedroom house. I feel I wouldn't be carrying out the intent of our regulations if I would approve it for 5 minus the 2, so 2 people, so 8. I would approve it for 8 lodgers. That's my maximum. That's my feeling. But I don't agree with the secondary change that was reported. And I would also maintain that we, if it was approved, that we'd have to have the guest register as we had stipulated.
All those conditions are, no matter if you approve it, there are those stipulations and conditions that they have to follow no matter what.
Correct.
So those are a given.
Well, there was a complaint about those too. Right.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah. But, well, I'm not saying that, well, I'm saying that I would never, ever personally vote on any application from this resident for anything, over 3 people. So that would be, when you say 8, I don't.
I'm in agreement with that.
You have to go by past history, what it's dealt with, the building codes. I'm not saying that an applicant that has 1 for 10, but I just don't think this particular application of a home fits within this neighborhood. I think we have enough history. I think we've heard from the neighbors, and I think it just does not fit. And I think it's our position to make sure it doesn't happen.
What I would suggest is that what the board does is that they write up a decision as to what their findings are, and as to what to want, and they vote to accept that decision at a next meeting. So, you see my point is that your motion should be to vote to write a decision, in your case, from what your motion was, to deny it, and then simply, have it prepared and adopt it at the next meeting. So what your,
And
what
then
your
you could
decision?
write that decision for us from
Well,
input
I
from
mean,
us? We would write it.
Assistant.
I mean, right?
You would get assistance in writing it from staff.
Thank you.
And then, but
So
it'll be your
I'll make
decision.
a friendly amendment.
I second the amendment.
Okay.
Question?
Yep, both of them, whatever you feel like.
I just want to clarify, what you're saying is another 5-bedroom home in town might get your approval. This particular 5-bedroom home, because of the history, is not going to get your approval. It's not because it's of the type of home it is, or is it because of the neighborhood it's in?
No, what I'm going to say is that from the information that I've gathered from this, that I cannot support this application right now. And then the stipulations of my decision you'll get next week. Okay. Sorry, Jen, but you got to.
I'll put it in the paper, just as you said.
Yep. My stipulations will be detailed, right?
Thank you. It's a very hard decision for us, but there's no way we can pay our taxes.
I can't hear you, sir.
I'm sorry. We went through all the requirements you've asked us. You've never asked us any questions. You've always believed the neighbors. They are at the point of checking all out-of-state cars registrations with the police. I was with the chief today. He said there were 4 cars on the property this weekend. One of the cars was a couple from France with their 2 children. They belong to a guest-to-guest program, which we belong to. It's a reciprocal exchange program. There's no money that changes hands. They are our guests. We can stay in their house in France, or we get points and we can stay somewhere else. There were 2 other people staying there overnight. It was reported to you that there were too many people in the house.
I never heard that.
Okay. But this has been happening all along. We've always been
Chairman,
up against...
I don't want to go down this road again. With due respect to you,
Okay.
when you say that we haven't heard you, we've listened to you. I've read every single one of your emails. We have listened to you. I've extensively read your application. I don't think I've been more prepared, or maybe just the same level, on making a decision since I've been a Board of Selectmen member for 10 years. I've done my research, sir, and just for that reason, I can't do that, because you always have your cousin on your sister's side married to somebody else having a graduation, and then we have some
Okay,
guests.
I'm gonna stop that right
Sorry,
now.
that is not true at all. We have always had a legitimate reason for having people there. You haven't even been to our house.
Yes, I have, sir. I know your
I
house.
know, yeah.
I know your house. I've
I'm
been
gonna
inside
stop,
your
I'm
house.
gonna
I know.
stop this discussion right now.
Thank you.
I like to call the
Thank
vote,
you.
sir.
My problem is we need to pay $6,000 of taxes this month. We don't have an income. We have people booked for next weekend. We were hoping to get the license for. We have 7 people coming. They're flying in from all over the country. We've got to try and cancel them. There's a very good chance that when we cancel people like that, they will sue us or the town, because we were under the impression we would get the license at
Well,
least.
that's
No, that's fair enough. That's
unacceptable.
fair enough. Okay. No, that's
You
fine.
shouldn't have, sir.
I'm
That's
sorry,
another
I
reason-
know-
That's another reason why I have to deny it,
Yeah.
because you don't even have a license, but you're renting your house out without a license. I was the one who stood here, and you gave me that excuse last time. And I said to these selectmen, yes, let's extend it for him for 2 months because he has people booked. Let's do that for him, and then he gets his license. That was a year and a half ago. You had every opportunity to come that next week and present this application so there wouldn't be a problem. You've been doing this illegally now for over a year,
Okay,
and that
Glenn.
shows because you
That
just
is not
admitted that
true.
you have 7 people booked and paid for next week, and you don't have a license to do that.
But
I'm sorry, sir.
Glenn, okay,
Let's call a vote.
I think we've had enough discussion on this. The motion on the floor is to deny the application. All in favor of
Aye.
denying?
Aye.
I'm against denying, but not with what his application. So, okay,
What are we doing with the sign ordinance?
excuse me?
What are we doing with the sign ordinance?
Thank you, Mr. Hodgson. We've had some questions about, I don't think we're gonna do anything definitive, but I wanted to bring some items up about the sign ordinance. My question, for example, and I'm just throwing this out for discussion. Private signs shall not be, this is from the ordinance, private signs shall not be affixed to public property, including but not limited to utility poles, fences, trees, traffic signs, light posts, flag poles, or columns, except with the approval of the Board of Selectmen or other entity having jurisdiction over such public property. So that's section G. So I just wondered, as a board, and we're gonna get questions, what do we do about, say, real estate signs? And I don't mean the signs that is on the property, but the one that's the arrow that says it's going this way, or
Well, there's a
those kinds of things. I just like, do we want to be very, very stringent about these, or what is the board's feeling about that?
I think that signs that are like open house tomorrow or whatever are fine. I think signs, frankly, that are put on a telephone pole and have been there for 6 months, pointing to a house for sale that's no longer for sale 4 months ago, is wrong.
So how do we? It's just something like how do we address that? Is it a problem? I guess that's the first. Sometimes we create a problem in search of a solution, and maybe it isn't a problem. Is it first of all, do we think it is a problem?
I don't think it's a problem. I think there's some minor exceptions. The one it just happens to be by my house. So I understand.
Oh, I know where you mean. Yeah, okay.
It's screwed to the telephone pole about 15 feet off the street.
No, I agree with you, but I think the sign ordinance.
Yeah, if you're going to talk, yeah.
And I'm certainly not here to represent the realtor.
Right.
Population.
No, but I'd like to know what you think.
Maybe
Yeah,
some insight would-
Well,
yeah.
yes, and I may have left a sign or two in months gone by.
Everyone.
Yeah. But I think the sign ordinance change came into effect at the last town meeting. A friend of ours who owns Scoops in town, he brings business, he's got a business and a livelihood that he feels that isn't being sufficiently advertised. Because, and you're talking about kids after sports and families, and, it's a very happy, positive thing, and he can't get a sign.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, we're talking about, though, town property, which is nothing.
But hold on for 1 second. Weren't we gonna have a larger discussion about signs?
Well, this was just yes, but this is my part.
Is that gonna be tonight?
We can talk about, for a short time, about any of it, but
So my suggestion would be.
But let's hear what she has to say about that.
Oh, okay.
I didn't even know the sign ordinance, so I was here to represent the 61A.
Well, I know that, yeah, but I just,
But
as someone involved in real estate, tell me what you think about it.
Well, can I give her a scenario?
No, I want to hear what she says.
Well, I
But-
think
but
it's important, especially, you know, our town is very large, to have multiple signs directing up one street or another street. But yes, they should be removed theoretically after the property has come off the market or, you know.
So in theory, a sign for a specific piece of property is only gonna be up for, what, a couple of months, 3
Couple of
months?
months, yeah,
2,
you
3
should,
months?
I
Well,
mean,
a
I've
couple of
left.
months now, it could be 8 months, when the market goes down. Houses seem to be selling well in
Right.
West Newbury.
Yeah.
Well, okay.
But I
This-
think the
this is
concern
what-
was
this is
more
what
for
my
business
scenario.
owners.
Would you have a problem with, you're selling one Main Street, okay? You only have to have a sign on one Main Street, no matter where it is in town. But if you're having an open house, you'd have a temporary sign pointing you to the open house.
Yeah, that's
What's
only for
happening
like 2
now is that, for Middle Street or something way off somewhere, you have a house, you have a sign in the front of the house, then you have a sign on Bachelor Street, then you have a sign on Main Street with all arrows so people can kind of go the yellow brick road down to the home.
Yeah.
I think that's what you're talking about. I would be in favor of just one sign on the property, and if they're having an open house, then you point them in the right direction. Because with all the electronic stuff now, nobody really, I mean, maybe if you're a new couple, let's go on Sunday and drive around, but then you see the open house signs,
Yeah.
okay? But everything is electronically, and there's maps and Google Maps, and you find the property. So I think I have a problem with all the signs that are going around.
You're right, it is a marketing technique to a certain
Yeah,
extent.
of course it is.
But that being said, it's hard to find 246 Middle Street on the GPS. I've had many visitors come to my house and they end up on Middle Road instead of Middle Street.
I understand.
So I do agree to a certain extent. Newburyport has eradicated the directional signs.
They have?
They have. There's one on Upland by, an out-of-town realtor who probably doesn't know, but I had a listing on Woodland a couple of years ago, and I got a call from somebody that said, "Hey, dummy, you can't put the directional sign on the corner." So,
I would say we go with that. But to my greater point, that I would actually, if we're gonna do something like this, we gotta, it seems like we're doing this piecemeal, and we're not really making any decisions on anything. I would ask to have maybe the selectmen have to come up with a decision, get all the information from the realtors, get all the information from the farms in town, and so forth and so on.
Well, farms are agricultural, so they're exempted.
No, they're
Not
not.
on town land.
Not on town on
That's
land.
what I'm talking. I'm
Okay.
talking about. That's all, the only thing we have control over right now is town-owned land. That's
the
all
only-
we have
Right.
control over.
Okay.
Because the planning board, the building inspector has control over if somebody wants to put a sign in front of their house that doesn't fit the bylaw. He's the one who's responsible to take care of that, not us. I'm talking about town-owned land.
Okay.
So that, then we just finally get it behind us.
Well, who are the key stakeholders? It's the agricultural community.
And the realtors.
And the real estate. So beyond
What
that.
what else?
Well, I think the motion to amend the bylaw came from the business owners
Yeah, but
specifically.
that has
Yeah,
nothing
but
to
we're
do with
not-
us. It has
we're
nothing to
just
do with
talking-
us.
We're just talking about town-owned land, because that's the only thing. we
Which
have.
which includes though telephone poles and the
Yeah.
narrow, the strip
right-of-ways
by the
that-
sidewalk.
Gotcha.
And
That's
the-
all
and the
town.
little- And the little islands that are in the middle of intersections.
The islands people love to put stuff in the islands, and it
Especially
really,
the ones on Main Street.
really
If 8 feet on,
trashes
if you have a
them up
right-of-way
sometimes.
on either side that you're not supposed to put anything on, it's town-owned land. So I think it would be the realtors and the farms. Everybody else, and any other well, that's not true. That's absolutely, no.
Yard
Okay.
sales.
Politicians.
Political signs are totally exempt. Well, they
Not
can't
on
put them on.
not on
You
town-owned
can't put them
land.
on town-owned land anyway, but there is some exemption for political signs. And you can
But
put
that
them on.
doesn't apply.
No, but they
Exactly.
can't be on town-owned
I know.
land. Yeah.
The only-
Except
the other
I put
things-
up the town meeting signs on town land, so,
That's okay.
yeah.
It's town
But the only
business.
thing that would be also part of this would be organizations. But they, like,
Boy
but they,
Scouts, Girl
but,
Scouts.
the girls, Pentucket
Youth
Charity,
League or
yeah,
something.
Youth League, but they put them on in front of their own homes, sign up, or they have to get permission to put the signs up.
Well, they put them up.
But they just
I know,
do,
but
they
I'm
do
saying
just
they
do it, yeah.
But they have to get permission, so when the big stakeholders are realtors and farms about town-owned land. And we should do this we should listen to everybody before the Christmas,
Right.
Christmas tree.
Well,
lights.
that's why I think it's on the agenda tonight to start this.
Yeah,
Okay, so I
That's
think-
exactly, I just wanted to, who do we need to talk about?
Oh, okay, that's.
Yeah, but the
okay.
Christmas,
You-
again, it's good business. You have your Christmas tree farms, and that's their biggest time of
We
year.
Well, we
said,
have no,
we kind of said.
we have no problem with that, but I think we have more farms, or maybe the older farms are making new signs. Is, for the first time, we started getting phone calls or emails, I did, about Christmas tree signs.
And
I think
peop-
they're just bigger and better now, but we just like,
Why people are offended that they're out?
not offended, but the person was just wondering why they get to put them on town-owned land, and I
Can I
told
ask
them
a question?
they're a farm and it's a tradition.
Going back to the realtor sign, so what are other towns or cities, do they have, what rules do they have? You said Newbury.
I just know that Newburyport doesn't allow the directional signs. And I don't know if that's just in the historical part of town. You don't.
It's all of Newburyport.
It is all over Newburyport. Yeah. So, although, I don't know, I feel like Turkey Hill kind of gets away with putting some
They
stuff.
don't consider that Newburyport.
I know. Well, exactly, but it's still not part of Newburyport.
Okay, I just wanted.
Other towns other than Newburyport, I don't know.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you. But like I said, I was just going to bat for my buddy for scoops.
well, thanks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
They-
I agree with you.
We agree, but talk to the planning board and
Talk to town meeting.
town meeting. So I would
Okay.
ask Mr. Chairman, at a later date, we get all this, we try to inform everybody, get in the paper, get on the website, that we're gonna talk about any signs that are gonna be put on town land. People have to understand what that means, town land. I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
I don't think people would have any idea that a telephone pole is on town land, yeah.
And I don't think they're doing it in a nefarious way. I think they just don't know, and they've done it for 100 years, or 50 years, or 20 years. So they just keep on doing it.
Okay. But you,
But we have
you
to make-
never know when you need a stump ground, though. There's always a stump ground.
Yeah, I know, there's always a stump ground. Or a hot tub. There's always like a hot tub. Hot tub.
A used one. Okay, town manager search committee.
Well, what I like to say is that, again, this whole process has been excellent, right from the beginning. When we came up with the idea that we should move forward with this, and it showed, by the candidates we got, the applicants we got, and we interviewed for the town manager search committee. All were excellent. Any of them could do it. We have 7 people, and we only have 4 spots though. But I just wanted to thank it. I think we should send out a letter to anyone we don't pick and say just thank you, and that we'd love to be able to have you serve on any other boards if it comes up, if you have any
I was
interest.
just gonna say that we should even go beyond that, and, because they're all very well qualified, and, it would be a shame to not be able to find something different that would be suitable for, the other 3 or 4 people, 3 people.
Okay.
Absolutely. It was great to have a tremendous collection of people, to all highly qualified, very nice. Okay,
Can I send an email, or do you want a regular letter?
Could be an email. I think it could be.
yeah.
I make a
And
motion,
I was gonna say, and to.
I make a motion that we appoint, Lark Madden, Gary Roberts, William Bacharach, and Catherine Conrad to the Town Manager Search Committee, along with, will join Joe Anderson, who we already appointed to that committee as the selecting representative.
Second. Any discussion?
No, I had 2 of those as my top 2. Actually, 3 of those as my top 3.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So I would also ask that the people, if there were any other positions that they,
We're on their application.
Yeah,
Let's look
yeah.
at them. Yeah, follow up.
And do they have to take the ethics test to make sure, and that's about it, right? Anything else?
He's sworn in,
Yeah, sworn in?
and
So
basically get their open meeting.
if we send them an email and tell them,
It's
that.
a regular appointment process.
Yeah, is
Yeah, we
it for
wanna-
1 year? Is it till June 30th?
I would say it's too,
June 30th, because who knows, just
But you say no until.
until,
Selectmen deem
until,
it
the-
not necessary.
until we hire someone.
Until we
Until we
appoint,
hire
Yeah.
yes, until we appoint a town manager.
So it
Because-
just says it's
because
an
the-
open-ended
But it has to have
appointment?
a date. Why don't we just say through June 30th, 2018?
Because then
Just
we
have
might,
a-
for-
Why can't you
then,
say-
then
why
we
can't
might
you say
forget
just
about it.
Until it's done. You can do that, can't you?
Sure.
I hate when he does that. That's like my wife. Like my wife when she says fine. I know it. I know. First of all, I know it's not fine.
It doesn't really matter.
It just
I know
stays,
you're.
it's consistent.
Joe's a. I would ask that we send them the winner, the people that we appointed, an email, right? I don't know if they're winners or not. They can be. You know, saying that they are and what they have to go through. And then I would ask the other 3 people, thank you very much, and, you know, we have some other positions that we might want to fill them if they're interested. Right?
Yeah,
Yes.
but let's look at their application on what they may have been interested in. I mean, Mary can do that.
Okay.
Okay, we got some feedback from the legislature on our home rule petition,
Mr. McCarron?
Hold on, where are you?
related to the, related to
never
the
mind.
town manager.
Got it,
Item number 9.
got it.
There's so many Roman numerals here, it's like,
know.
it's,
I
it's
thought-
like, I haven't even like seen numbers, like, it's like,
Only next to
I
Super
know.
Bowls.
exactly.
So, just for the people that are watching on TV and don't have this in front of them, there were a lot of edits, and the vast majority of edits were just that, edits,
Like,
capitalization or
I
punctuation.
love that they got rid of all the capitalization, because I'm always fighting against it. Everyone wants to.
Now, the
wants
thing,
to
They
put
added
it
some
on.
in other places.
the thing,
Not much.
the thing, that, and Mike can speak to it, the 2 things that were not in that category are right up front where we said that, well, I'm not reading it, but it talks about rescinding the other acts of the water commissioners, DPW.
We didn't talk about rescinding them. We
Not
said,
rescinding, yeah, bad word. We rescinded the finance director.
right,
Yeah. So it was that, and then also we listed all the elective offices, and it was just kind of,
well, I mean,
it wasn't, I think the Secretary of State's office was, or Secretary of the Commonwealth's office was under the impression that we were trying to create new positions, which was not the case.
right, I mean, the Secretary of State, I mean, the elections office, the Secretary of State had a concern thinking that we might be changing our elected officers, and it's actually a statutory process to do that, and and also it didn't address the issue of what about the people who are currently serving those officers. So I have the name of the person at the elections officials. My expectation is that we'll just make a minor edit to say that those individuals who are currently in office will serve their term, without any change. So, literally, there'll be no change in the officers that we presently have, and those people who will occupy those offices, pre and post the town manager legislation, which was always our intention.
I mean, it would seem to me that would satisfy them, but, so that's.
But I have to have a conversation with her. I believe that would be the case.
Yeah, I mean, that would be my
I mean,
expectation.
there's no real disadvantage.
Right. I mean, but if it's not, if they really have an issue, I mean, if we need to take that out, if they really have an issue with it, it's not germane to the
Right,
appointment.
it's not germane to the establishment.
So that,
of the
I mean,
town
that would
manager.
be potentially a secondary option.
If we didn't have it in there, we'd still have those officers.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything.
I had, it seemed, and almost all the things were simply grammatical changes. But if you look, the one thing I had a question about, look at section 6 line, that they've got labeled line, where is section 6? Section 6. Okay, so appointment of a temporary town.
What line?
Page 8.
What line?
Well, it just, it's basically,
Down the bottom of the page.
bottom of the page. I just want to know if we're not being consistent, or they put new verbiage in here. They called it, I don't know if we're gonna like create a problem, because it says they put a temporary town administrator versus a temporary town manager. They changed the wording in that paragraph to say, town administrator,
Not manager.
but not everywhere. Like, for example, line 138, they said town administrator, and then line 146, they said town manager. So, are we going to create a problem by having two different words?
146 is more than 30 days, and I think Mike had done that.
Right.
And
No,
the beginning
131
part,
he's talking about.
the beginning part is under 30 days, which is the administrator. I think you had differentiated.
Yes.
So that was deliberate?
Yes.
We had.
Okay.
Yes, it was, and I think I used town manager, but I think I used it as an adverb to change, and they wanted to change it to administrator to indicate that it was a temporary head official versus the interim town manager, and for more than 30 days. And the idea being is
Okay,
that,
so that's
the town
deliberate.
manager goes
Okay.
on vacation for 2 weeks. Right. We could appoint a town administrator who could basically who's in charge.
Administer the.
But if the town manager suffered a serious debilitating illness and was going to be gone for more than 30 days,
They had a heart attack.
then, and we're uncertain as to what, we could appoint an interim town manager who would then act as town manager.
Okay.
And that was the distinction. I think they allowed, I think they wanted to use the word administrator versus manager to really bring home that
Town manager.
designation.
Okay, so that's deliberate then.
That is
That's
deliberate.
okay.
Yeah, it was deliberate to try to have different terms associated with under 30 days and over 30 days.
Okay.
And because they're two different processes, because remember, is that the town manager can appoint the temporary one, but the temporary town, but the interim town manager has to be appointed by the board.
Yeah, I mean, they had a ton of edits, and once I got past, wow, all these edits, I mean, they're
It's the
actually,
same thing.
they're actually okay.
It's, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
let's move on this. So with
I'll
these
talk to-
edits and what you have to do,
You're gonna talk to
the
both.
deadline and all that's still the same?
Yeah, well,
Timeline
I got
again?
the email from Senator Tarr's office this morning with the name of the person from the Secretary of State's office. So I'll call her tomorrow. Once I get her straightened out, then I can talk to Senator Tarr's office. They'll put me in touch with the Senate Council office, and we'll simply approve that. And then you should put it on your next agenda because under the legislation,
We have to approve the edits.
you have to approve the edits. So hopefully by the next meeting, you guys will approve the edits and we can,
So does that mean they cannot do the third reading until we approve the edits?
I believe so. That's how the legislation goes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's get it done, please. I don't know how hard that office is. I called them for a week and a half and they never.
Yeah, they
Yeah, so if you could start tomorrow morning, that would be great.
Yeah, but I still have to get the Secretary of State on board because that's going to be, those edits are not going to be, are not reflected in that document.
Well, you know, if you can get it done earlier, the chairman could post a meeting just for that.
Yeah, okay.
And we could, so we don't have to wait 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And we could just come in, I mean, we all know what the edit, it's all in front of us, it's nothing new. And,
It would be a little bit new, but it wouldn't, it
no,
would be as I
but
described.
I'm talking about the stuff that we've already discussed it.
Mhm.
There's nothing new that we haven't discussed. We just approve those edits, and so then you could give it right back to them that it's approved by us.
Right.
Okay.
okay, great. Next items, we have a request for a street opening permit on Arcalus Hill Road.
I want to make a motion to approve a street opening permit, number 2017-03.
For 7 Arkwoods Hill Road.
Yep, 7 Arcalus Hill Road, yeah.
Second.
Okay.
Discussion?
No, in the discussion, obviously, there were some stipulations by the superintendent of streets. It was actually the DPW director now, but, as long as we follow that. Aye. Make a motion to approve, street opening permit number 2017-04 for Octo's, 7A Octo's Hill Road.
Second.
Discussion?
And the same thing.
Aye.
Aye.
Next item.
The next item is a review of the Investment Policy Committee.
Okay, real quickly, I'd said that we're reviewing the entire policy, which we are, and that we'll come back with recommendations in the fall to kind of slim that down a little bit. Through working on that committee, we found that the people who are experts in the field, i.e. Gene Trim and Lark, I mean, they're invaluable to the committee. So, and I think I had mentioned this last time, we'd like to modify the committee makeup so that it's 3 at-large people and that the treasurer is an ex officio member of the committee as opposed to a voting member of the committee.
So moved.
Treasurer's ex officio?
Yeah, well, can I make the motion? So sure. She can, because she's going to have to put it in the policy.
I'm just trying to move this thing along a bit.
Okay. I move to amend the investment policy statement, section 4, article 2.1, to read the investment, I'll send it to you, Mary. The investment policy committee shall consist of 5 members who should include a member of the board of selectmen, voted annually by the board, a member of the finance committee, voted annually by that committee, 3 members of the community appointed.
So she gets this.
I said I'm going to email it to her.
Oh, okay.
Community appointed to 3-year rotating positions by the board of selectmen. The town treasurer shall serve as ex officio member of the committee.
Second.
Aye.
Discussion, all in favor? Aye.
So do I update the policy?
We just
This is a
voted to
Board of
change.
Selectmen
We
policy?
just, yes.
Does it come back to get approved by you
We
once
just
the
approved it.
amendments?
We just approved it.
Okay, so it's ready to then go out as amended?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, no, yeah, it's just.
You don't sign it, you do adopt, you sign it.
Yeah, we can put it up to you.
Okay,
I'll send you the books.
great, thank you.
Our next item was, I want to thank Joe for doing this, sort of consolidating all of the 3 of our goals for the coming fiscal year. The top 5 priorities that we had put down were under the town manager to establish clear division of responsibilities between the selectmen, town manager, executive assistant, administrative assistant, town accountant, treasurer collector, and town clerk. And establish a 30-day introduction of that said person and create 6-month priorities and to familiarize the town manager with the town of West Newbury. Our next priority was to pursue a new town water source, and I believe that is important. We got to work on that. Continue to support the high school building plan, possibly to put to a town vote a marijuana moratorium, and we're going to discuss that in a minute, and increase communication between employees and residents. So those were the selectmen's priorities for the coming year. Under department head priorities, what did you write that, Joe, or?
Yeah.
So what does that mean about talking about the parade?
Oh, well, I didn't know. It said it said Memorial Day budget, Memorial Day parade budget. I didn't know. I hadn't heard that before.
Well, I hadn't either. So Mary, you want to tell us where did
that come from, though?
I don't know.
We've always had a budget, but where did that come from? Memorial Day's always had a little budget.
I think there's 600, I think it was.
There's 600.
They established it a couple of years ago because we just needed some money.
Yeah.
It was actually on yours, Archie. So
It was?
Yeah, increased budget for Memorial Day parade. I didn't know.
Oh, in relation to building it up for under the bicentennial, yeah.
Oh, so
We had
that's
enough
not
money
really,
last year, right? We don't need
so
any
that's
more
for
money.
bicentennial, that's next year.
Yeah.
I believe we did, yes.
Yeah, we had enough money.
Again, it was my first year, so I was,
So
We
we don't,
never spend all the money.
we should,
No, but I'm just thinking big, if we,
I
you know,
understand.
if you wanna
So
have, if
let's
you
keep
wanna
that
have
up.
bands and things like that in a parade,
that's
you
what
have
we're
to,
up.
you have to.
that's
you-
more, so that's more for the following.
Right,
Okay, so we should take that off.
Well,
right, yeah, good.
okay, I make a motion that we, accept, these Board of Selectmen goals.
Second.
As edited.
Second.
All in favor?
Discussion.
Aye.
Aye. I did have one thing I want to say.
Okay.
On the, I do worry that these are too many. I said that last
Say it
time.
again, sir?
I said I worry that these are too many. I had
Yeah,
said
but
that
if we
last
get
time.
some,
On the very first one though, since we've now accepted this as a goal, establish clear responsibilities between basically the finance department, us, town manager, including town clerk too. Well, I'd like to ask, if we get a representative from the finance office, our office, and the town clerk, that what are the current, not the job descriptions, but like what are the current major responsibilities? So like 75% of their time for the people that we listed on here. Could we ask Mike, Mary, and maybe Sue as a representative from the finance office to give that to us? So that when we look at the town manager responsibilities, some of the things like facilities as an example is shared between Mike's office and Mary's office, right?
Right.
And it
Yeah, but
says,
see, I think that's-
and it says in the legislation that the rental of facilities is that person that is gonna approve that.
yeah. But I think we need to establish more than that. It needs to be everybody in town, because this actually, you know, we just approved this, but I think that falls short under the town manager. We should try to have a line of consistency within a 30-day introduction, create initial 6-month priorities for town manager, introduction of the whole town and how the departments, because that individual is now going to be responsible. Remember we talked about
Oh,
that
well,
before?
but
Yeah.
I don't
Two
think.
different things,
I don't
yes.
think this changes that, no.
I agree with what you're saying, but I would also say it's two different things.
But then but it's not on here.
The second.
Establish a clear division, okay, a division of responsibilities between the selectman, town manager, executive assistant, and administrative assistant. Town treasurer, and town clerk on paper.
And you're talking about the second,
Yeah.
really the
Okay.
second thing. 30-day introduction, 6-month priorities.
Yeah, but we need the same thing from all the other departments, what I was talking about. We really don't know what goes on up there. So what are we gonna do?
Oh, that's a very good, I see what Glenn's
Yeah, so what are we
driving
gonna
at.
do? Wait,
Like,
in the 30
like,
days,
like
you
they,
go up?
they come in and they don't know what's going
So we
on,
could, hey,
yeah.
go upstairs and figure out what's going on in the planning board, figure what's going on in the water department,
Yep.
and report back to us. We should kinda know so we can, hey, what's.
That's
really going-
I think Glenn's point is well taken. Maybe a representative of each department, just like, and, from what Joe said, what
What do you do?
what does this
What do you
person
do all
do
day?
75% of the time?
So like, it would be as simple as, and it's gonna vary per person, or per position, like, maybe like 6, 8 bullet points. And that's maybe oversimplifying, but it should not be a list of
No.
20 things.
I go sharpen the pencils.
I know Mike does
from
40
9,
things, but-
9:15, you know, yeah, yeah.
But that's too.
From
that's
8,
too
you know,
much.
I spend 32 minutes making out dog licenses, that it can't be like that. Broad brush.
I mean, does that make sense to you?
it does, with
But
email
see,
these
here's somebody
days,
that comes in and has no idea what anyone does.
And
And
then
so
we
we
don't
wanna
either.
give them a little,
Well, it's partly no idea what anybody does, but then also they're gonna fit in with this group, so needs to be.
No, they're gonna fit in with every group, see that?
Yes,
I
yeah.
understand that.
Okay.
But see, they're gonna, he or she needs to fit in with every single group.
Yes, I agree.
Okay?
Yes, I agree.
That.
I didn't mean it.
I think.
I didn't mean it that
Okay,
literally.
I think we have talked about reorganization. that there is gonna be some reorganization probably happening.
Right.
I think that's what maybe this is more about.
Yes.
That we need to find out what people do and what they're responsible for.
That's
Then
what
there has to be clear lines of what people are responsible for when this new, that's what I think what you're looking
That's what I'm
I
talking
mean,
about.
we also may
So we're
get,
kind of talking about two different things.
we may also get input from this person saying, I think we should do it,
So maybe
we should do it this way too. They're gonna have some, I hope they have some ideas, because they're supposed to be the experts.
But we need to give them a clear starting point, and then turn the reins over to them.
Right, but I like Glenn's idea of
Well, I
we
think we
wanna
can do
know
both in
what does
parallel.
everybody do, cause
It's
not,
almost like a third sub-bullet point of what you're saying.
yeah.
What's Gary do all day long?
Yeah. So that's really,
We're not saying that they're not doing anything.
But
we'd
but
like to
so
know,
that
people say-
the person can know.
So we know,
Yeah.
so when I think that's important.
yep, no, I agree. It's just, we could add that as a third.
But the organizational thing down here, because that is gonna be on the front lines, I think that is true. So,
That's sort of almost separate, yeah.
yeah. So what do you wanna do? You wanna handle this, Joe? With Mary, and she can send an email to everybody?
Sure, I'd be glad to. Yeah.
I'm not trying to put work on you.
Yeah,
but
that's fine.
This seems like
Okay.
something like you're doing, you'd be good at, if you're very,
That's fine.
okay.
Facilities request for the apple harvest. Mr. Kemper?
Do you have any questions about it?
Oh, yeah.
You do?
Yes, I do. So I know they're not here.
Well, no, yeah, but I'm gonna tell them to watch on TV.
Okay.
What do they have?
We told them they didn't have to come.
Yeah, they didn't have to come here.
So,
It's the same every single year.
I know that. My concern is they have new people every single year,
Yeah.
almost. So
Yeah.
we have to do a re-education process every
Yep,
single
I would
year.
agree with that.
So they did have their request for facilities in, but this is closing roads, so it triggers the special event policy. So some of the questions I have are, what are the start times of the 3 races, fun run, 5K, 5 mile?
Yep.
What are the times of the proposed road closures and reopenings?
Yep.
They reference that there's a possibility of one more road closure. What is that? How will the residents of the closed roads be notified?
Yep.
Is there any proposed painting of streets or
See it again?
is there any proposed painting of streets or sign usage on town land? And where and how many porta potties will they have? When will they arrive? When will they be removed?
Is that all you have?
That's all I have.
Okay. You saw the 5 mile thing, right? Where what's gonna happen, the roads that they're gonna be using?
It's just same,
the same route.
same as ever.
I know.
Yeah.
So where do you see that there might be a new one that they have not used before?
It was on this.
Okay, next.
It's on the bottom of the first page.
Yeah, I know, I got it. Okay, well, so with all, we're gonna approve this with all the start time, the road closures, and with all those stipulations.
I mean, you guys can vote on it, but I'd like answers before I vote.
The porta potties are going on your driveway.
It's a hill, so they can get tipped over. I'd like to see that.
Yeah, hi, it's Glenn Kemper. Is there any way you can come down?
Sure. Let me just get changed. I'll be right there.
Thank you. Okay, so a kid runs out in the middle of the street when she's here. So, I don't know.
Who's coming?
Glenn, that's a terrible thing.
It's not Joe's fault, it's not mine. I'll sleep fine tonight.
It's Michelle Card is her name.
Yeah,
This is a new person.
She's brand new, yes. to
Every
this.
year, almost.
Okay.
And that's why.
Joe, do me a favor.
What?
Promise me that you'll put the garden club through the same thing that this person had to go through with his event application.
We did.
No, you did not. So promise me you'll do that. This poor thing hired babysitter. It's whatever. You're right. They have a new person, and hopefully, like they say every single year to me, well, we're finally gonna write it down, and everybody just wants to go, and they run, they run away. Okay. Marijuana. Hold on, Mike. Can you open that in the kitchen? I brought some munchies, so we could have some munchies for this part of the meeting. Okay.
What's marijuana?
It's legal, I think, right?
What?
As long as it's under it, as long as
Under
it's
2 ounces now.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah.
Well, obviously I'm not that hip, because I thought it was so one.
No, they changed it. That was part of the law.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so what's up?
So I guess the issue is,
It has to be voted, since the town voted for it on the election, it has to be voted.
Not a moratorium, I don't believe.
Okay.
I think we can go with it. We could ask for a moratorium.
Do we need a moratorium? Because I thought it wasn't gonna be effective until
No, you
next
don't.
summer.
No, some people have well, okay, a lot of towns, before they had the new legislation, put in moratoriums.
Mhm.
And the idea was they didn't want to have anyone make any applications in their town until everything was settled. And that had been approved. So that's one of your options. Your options
That's a
is
town
to
meeting.
say,
That's a town meeting. vote.
okay, let's put a moratorium, let's not decide this to a time certain. None can be approved, no retail establishments can be approved till July of 2018 anyways.
Is that a town meeting vote, moratorium?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, but we would be doing it, well, we could do it in the fall, but we're just pushing the can down the road.
Yeah, it's a vote that we. Yeah.
Wait until July of wait 7 months.
Wait until the spring annual town meeting, and not, town election, and vote it then. That's the next election, right?
Right.
That's what I would do.
If you wanted to, you could put it to the town.
and that's not a moratorium, that's a permanent.
No, take a look. Before the selectmen or the town can adopt policies prohibiting it, you have to get a vote of the voters giving you the authority to do that. So one of the questions I have, which I haven't seen addressed anywhere, is could you at town meeting say, put in a bylaw? See, I gave you a couple of examples of bylaws.
Yeah. Right.
Could you vote, let's say, at the April annual town meeting or a special meeting in April to adopt that, subject to an approval of the voters, which would then happen next week. So, you don't want to be put in a situation where you get a vote of the voters in May, and then you can't adopt anything for another 6 months.
So, should we have a larger discussion? So, this is on as marijuana zoning and bylaws. So, as a Board of Selectmen, what are we talking about? We have our options that are set forth because of the vote in the way we voted on the ballot question.
Right. Since the town approved, more
We
people voted in
approved.
favor,
Yep.
that in order for us to enact the prohibitions.
Yeah, if we want to. No one's saying we want to.
No, you can do nothing.
So if we do nothing, what happens?
It depends.
Nothing?
In the business district, somebody could
Could
apply.
I just want to.
Yeah.
Like we have never talked about.
Exactly,
I think we're on
yeah.
the same. So if we do nothing, after July 1st of 2018, somebody could put an application in or just open up a retail operation?
They would have, meaning they would have the right to use a property in the business district for retail sales, which what marijuana would be.
Yeah.
They would have to get licensing
From
from
whom?
the state.
Nothing to do with the municipality at that point.
Except the town would then have the option to vote additional taxes.
Like the meals tax that people do.
Right.
And
Right.
some towns adopt that and it goes to
Right.
school. Okay, so we have, at that point, we have nothing to say about it. As long as they meet, as long as they meet the local zoning and all that.
What
for
about,
business.
what about it's, 20% of the number of liquor licenses or something like that?
That's one of the prohibitions that you could
But
adopt.
that's a prohibition.
Right,
That's-
so,
there
so
are
we
certain- there are
have,
certain-
we have 2 licenses, correct?
Right.
So 20% of 2 is
Less than a half.
less than 1,
I
yeah.
think they round up.
Oh,
Okay, so,
okay, all right.
so,
But those,
okay.
but th- those.
So that's if we do nothing.
That's one of the issues that have to be, kind of
Hashed
ironed
out.
out in the regulations, which is why they're not, because they haven't adopted the regulations, which, you have to go through in order to apply for the license. Meaning, they have the statute that is like the enabling statute, but nobody knows how you actually have to apply for a retail operation. We don't know
Okay.
what that is.
Oh, okay.
And if it was like the medical marijuana, that means you gotta put up, $50,000 and you have to have all these different things.
Okay, so if we do
safeguarding.
nothing, they can go in our business district, and as long as they meet all the local ordinances of running a business, they can do that, and we have no say on that, other than getting revenue, if that's what we want.
That's right.
Okay? And then our other option is that we can then do some type of prohibition. Can we just say we don't want them
Yes.
in our town, or they have to come before the Board of Selectmen? They have to come before the Selectmen for local licensing, so then we can pick and choose. So a blanket moratorium, or some type of moratorium that they have to get a local license from us, and we could vote yes or no on it. What?
Obviously, is that most people concentrated on the prohibition. I think
understand.
that the issue you have as to
Well,
local
couldn't we have a
license.
local bylaw saying all, West Newbury bylaw stating that all retail dispensaries of marijuana and or whatever, blah, 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 blah.
Have to have a list of conditions and stuff like that.
Has to have a license from the governing body, which would be the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I mean, that's new ground. Nobody has addressed that yet.
So then we could look at each one, and then we could say, yes, we'll allow this, you have to give us $500,000 a year.
Well, I don't know if you can do that.
But why not?
Because
Merrimack was doing that, it wasn't 500,000, but,
Oh,
Merrimack.
you mean that was, yes, but that was the regulations. The regulations stated in order to operate a medical marijuana facility, you had to enter into an agreement with the town. That might still be true, because we don't know what the regulations are. They might have the same thing.
Okay, but my question is saying that, okay, could we have a local bylaw stating that to be able to have a local dispensary of marijuana, you have to have a
You get
agreement with the
approval
town.
of the board.
And
Yeah, I mean, yeah, on
I'm
a
just
couple of
looking at
different
all
levels.
options.
I mean, obviously, if you could prohibit it, then you could say, well, you have to get like a special permit issued by the Board of Selectmen.
And our stipulation is you give us $500,000 a year, or $1 a year, or $3.
We have to sample it to see if it's a good product.
It's new ground, Glenn, so I mean, I can't say definitively one way or the other.
So what do we want to do? We want to have this discussion and put something on. Okay, hold on. Okay, now my other thing is now, if we do nothing, boom, boom, boom. If we put a total moratorium on it, or what I just stipulated, that has to go in front of the voters, or does that have to go in front of town meeting?
Moratorium is town meeting, prohibition.
A
is
complete
vote.
prohibition has to come to the voters.
Yes.
The prohibition is the
Can you have
voters?
Can you have a moratorium up to
Yes.
99 years?
Because the town
No.
voted
So what can
for
you
it.
have?
Right.
So the standard is reasonable in time and scope.
Boom. Everybody's living longer now.
So if we have a moratorium.
I
the
think
idea
it was
would be-
like a year and a half or something, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was what it was for medical
Yeah,
marijuana.
yeah.
When they put it in place, they basically, the Attorney General said a year and a half is reasonable. Anything more than that would be bordered on unreasonable.
If we have a prohibition vote in the first week of May, like 2018, does that have to be, is it effective immediately, or does that have to go to the Attorney General? Because it's getting kind of close to that July 1st date.
I don't believe it has to go to the Attorney General. I'm at that point.
Because if it doesn't have to go to the Attorney General, that's the only thing we'd really have to do. If it does have to go to the Attorney General, I'd be a little anxious about the time, and we should probably have a moratorium.
Right, but I would think that that's a very good point, but I would think that anybody that was gonna invest a whole bunch of money in a retail operation wouldn't be they might look twice at the town that had just voted it down. That wouldn't be their first choice.
Would they be grandfathered? It's like you can't charge somebody, you can't make a law, that sitting here with a Poland Springs is illegal if I did it yesterday, you know what I mean?
It's called an ex post facto law.
Mm-hmm. So if we, to go to Joe's point, so if we voted that and it took the Attorney General to look at it and it didn't come back until August, they opened up on July 18th, do they only have that for 3 weeks, or do they grandfathered into the old law? Just expounding on Joe's point.
It depends.
So we really have no answers for this.
No.
Let's move on.
If it's a bylaw, then it's effective at the time of the Attorney General approval, if you do a bylaw. If you do a zoning bylaw prohibiting it, the sales of it, or saying you can only sell marijuana in the industrial zone, then it's effective as of the date of the town meeting vote. So
what about the prohibition?
But
we don't know that.
That one we know. We know we need to have it, but I don't know if
So
I don't know if that then prohibits it, or whether or not it.
Okay, so why don't we do this? Let's do our homework on it, and then decide when we.
Okay. You tell me which way you want to go.
I would say to do a moratorium sooner versus later, because that's a vote and it needs Attorney General approval, and then a prohibition for the town.
Well, a vote for prohibition.
A vote.
The town might vote yes.
Yes, a vote for prohibition on the town election.
Okay.
So you're saying do a moratorium on the
Now,
fall town meeting?
Yes, and the reason for that is that has to get approved by the Attorney General, so we're kind of against the clock if we push it to the spring.
Oh, I see what you, do it now.
And then that gives us a little time, so you can do a moratorium, and within that moratorium time, we can,
Then gives us more
get
time
us
to study
organized
it.
to be.
That's the whole
Good.
purpose of the moratorium,
Good.
is to give the town the opportunity to see the regulations. And
Okay,
I
I
would-
agree with that.
I would make a motion that that would be a selectmen's warrant article on our fall town meeting.
Discussion. Okay, we've talked about retail sales. If there's an agricultural place, I know that it's going to have to be in a protected, not an outdoor environment, but
That could change too. These things changing,
what do we?
my suggestion is that
Do we want to do the whole 9 yards? I guess is what. Do we want to? We want a prohibition on a moratorium on everything.
If we're organizing ourselves, right, giving ourselves time to get organized on this because it's so fluid and we're not getting answers from the state. Why don't we do it on everything, and then we can it gives us time.
I would agree.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
gives us time then. Because every time we ask, like something, well, the state hasn't done it. I mean,
Well,
they
the
don't know
state,
yet.
they just took it up. The governor just signed it like a week ago.
10 days ago, 7 days ago, yeah.
Okay.
Come on up. Sorry.
We're almost done with this.
Sit down.
Let's just finish this.
No, you get to talk to the microphone.
Hopefully you were in bed already, ready for bed.
Nope, just putting kids to bed.
So to time out, our motion is that we're going to put a warrant article to have a moratorium on marijuana
Retail facilities.
testing,
All facilities.
manufacture,
You're right.
All facilities.
growth, everything. Okay.
Well, and Michael or somebody will make the article.
Mike will draft the article.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi, thank you.
You don't need to have anybody else here if you're getting that other person.
No, I'm just putting up some notes.
So, your application was fine, no problems, but Mr. Anderson had some questions that he wasn't going to vote on it. Not that he wasn't going to vote, no, but he had some questions on the application he wanted answered before he'd vote on it.
So I don't know, I know it's your first time doing this, I think, so if you're asking to close roads, so it's subject to our special event policy. I don't know if you've seen this before. Okay, probably.
It's on the website.
It's on the website.
Yeah.
It's on the Selectmen page of the
That's
website.
what you looked at in order to get the details.
Yeah, you looked at it. The question that Mr. Anderson had was, it's the
Well, I
same as,
have a number of questions.
yeah,
So
but the one on the roads was.
well, the first question is, what are the start times of each of the 3 races, Fun Run, 5K, 5 Mile?
Sure, I think they're the same as every year past.
It had changed one year, that's why. I think last year or the year before it changed. But go
I
ahead.
believe it's gonna be the same as last year, so I believe it starts at 11:30 or 11:40 is
For
the
the
first.
fun run.
The fun run,
11:30 over 40.
I believe, yeah.
It's 11:30 and 12 o'clock is the,
Yeah, let me just pull up the website, hold on, I just, actually did that tonight. One second. Okay, so 9:30, the registration will open, 10:45, we're doing the warm-up. 11 a.m. the 1 mile fun run will begin, the 11:30 will be the 5 mile, and 11:40 will be the 5K.
Okay. So what times are the proposed road closures and then reopenings?
I believe that I'm not sure on, being my first one through here.
were you agreeable to last year's? I think these are the same times. So if they are the exact same as last year?
Yeah.
Is that okay? You don't see them any.
I don't see it varying much from last year at all, except for trying to be more efficient.
On
I'm
your,
trying to streamline it more so
on your-
it's not as.
on your application, it says one more possible road closure.
I believe last year, from what I was told from just people talking, was that there was one area where there was a lot of, I'm not sure what road it was. I think it might have been where Middle Street is, where that comes into play. I think that
What do you mean, it was a lot of what?
they didn't have the road closed off, and there was a lot of
Because
potential.
I've run both of those races several times. Well, not fun.
Did you see, was there an area where there was a potential
Every
danger
time
where there
I've
was-
run it, like everything's closed. Because
There
I've
wasn't,
also
okay.
been out in my car when I didn't run, and
There was nothing.
it's all blocked. So I didn't
Okay.
know what one additional street
So
was.
there are no additional streets to your thing, but you're just gonna make sure that the streets that you have on your application are closed.
Yes.
So, and this comes up every year. So the people that live on all of those roads, which are a lot of people, how are they? Because they might be like in their late 70s. They don't have kids in school, so they have no idea this is happening. Maybe they just moved into town a year ago. So how do we ensure that they know that they won't have accessibility to their street?
I would assume that there would be something sent out to them past
Okay,
years. I mean,
so
there must have been a
what
flyer
we've done in the
available.
past was that we've put up signs. The police
Well,
department has done,
The Apple Harvest Road Races put up signs.
Yes.
You said we.
well, I'm part of it.
They have to be notified at some.
Yeah, the police have put out a reverse 911. That, not 911, but, yeah, what is it? Yeah, the code red thing, the code red thing.
Have they?
Yes, they
I
have.
don't remember that.
Yes, they did last
Okay.
year. And, you notified everybody that's on the route somehow. If not, I think they put flyers in everybody's door.
We do have flyers that go out.
You would have gotten.
I have not ever received a flyer.
Well, you live way up on the hill, you don't get people for Halloween either, but that's, it's too long of a walk.
I'm a resident.
But would that be suitable for you?
A flyer?
What would you want?
I don't know. I'm not running the race.
I know, but you have to approve it. What would you approve?
I just want to
What
make
would you
sure that
disapprove?
people know that they don't go out to Market Basket and come home with a car full of groceries and can't get in their house.
But you know that's gonna happen, because that happens every year, and it's been going on for
People,
20,
it's been
28
25 years, and
28
they've
28
always
years.
complained for like an hour A year, it's unbelievable.
Yeah, for 28 years, this has
And
been
last
going
year,
on.
somebody almost got arrested. So that's why I'm saying communicate.
What do you?
I know, so that's what I'm saying, so this is why she's here.
Yeah, what do you propose that I do this year that would make this a little bit more streamlined for everybody? Because
See-
what I'm doing this year is I'm trying to implement different policies and structure to put in place, so that way, hopefully next year, when if I still stay on
Well,
this, that it follows suit, and that way it stays in.
well, it sounds like the code red thing would be good, if we could do that. Can we do it by, I think you can do it by street, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't do the whole section, I mean, I would do more than
Yeah.
just the streets, I do. Just not the whole town.
Say it again?
Okay, yeah, how, it doesn't
Let the whole
cost
town
anything,
know.
yeah.
We'll put it on our town website. Now, anybody who signed up for that stuff, they could get that also, right, Mary?
Yeah, anyone who subscribes.
Who subscribes to the town
Yes,
website for
and I put
notifications?
that out, yes. There's about 300.
But those are people that probably know what's going on.
I know I'm trying to do it all, and these problems come up every year.
I know, so we're trying to solve them. So I wanna make sure that you're happy when you leave here, I mean. so- Okay, so we'll work,
So we got Code Red website,
we just gotta move on with this, so
signs.
we'll work out something, I'll work out something with her, and I'll talk to the chief, we'll talk to this, and maybe she'll make a phone call to just, to whomever did it in the past. 'Cause I remember, all kidding aside, I remember you, or one of us asking that question, because that's the one that comes up every year. And they said something about going to each house so that we're notifying people. They honestly did. I'm not gonna lie, because I can't remember.
See if we
exactly
had a
what it was.
nice electronic sign out front, we could announce that.
Nobody's going to your house. And I'm not even saying that funny, because you live way up on the hill. You'll go,
It's not worth it.
Yeah. Only one person, he probably doesn't run, and he's probably in the race, so trying to do something.
Okay, so let's move on. Any proposed painting of streets or signage on town plan?
We're not painting anything, no. The only thing that we do, hope to be able to do is possibly just put up arrows on 8x10 pieces of paper that will be put up that morning of the race and taken down maybe an hour after the race. And I have people that are designated to put up and take down.
That's a great idea, as opposed to painting streets.
Yeah, painting streets is not ideal.
That's good. That's new, and that's improved.
Great, thank
You
you.
said you were gonna go away here happier. There you go, he's got a smile now. Porta potties, they're gonna come like on Friday, and they're gonna be done, taken away on Monday.
Yeah,
I knew the answer to that one. And that's it?
That's it, that's all.
that's it.
Do you have questions?
That was easy.
No,
Are you two running this year in it?
I'm running.
What about you, Joe?
You volunteering anyway?
I might try to work out for the 5K.
Make a motion to approve this application with the stipulation that we come back with, proper notification, a plan of proper notifying the residents that the closures of the street closures.
Second discussion. Just one more point on that. So maybe when you work with your committee,
Sure,
bring that up as a topic.
absolutely,
Kind of brainstorm that.
absolutely.
All in favor?
Hold on.
What?
I suggest with the Code Red, you actually give 2 notifications, you do one the day before, and then one that morning.
Joe, people are gonna get mad no matter what you do.
Put it in the newspaper too.
But, I mean, I get him under that, doesn't care, I have to listen to it.
Okay.
Hold on for 1 second. Can I ask a question? Who does the DOT signs? The chief got those when we do our parade, when we do our Memorial Day parade, and he puts those big temporary flashing signs saying that.
Oh, that,
be
yeah.
Caution that the street's gonna be closed. But is that because it's a state highway and they let us use it there? They won't let us use that on other streets,
That's
do they?
113, I think.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's
Yeah.
not a highway, but it's state. 113 is a state street. So do they just give them to us for that? Somebody organizes that because there's one near Newburyport and there's one down in Grove.
Yeah.
Not for my office, so
The chief did organize that with the state
that would be good.
for the
to put
Memorial
that
Day
out
parade.
on numbers.
so we'll work, if you make a note that you and I can talk to the chief, or you can talk to the
Is
chief
it
about
on
that?
Main Street? Is the road race on Main Street?
No.
Yeah, the road, yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I
I
asked
don't
if,
think so,
that's,
yeah.
that's why I said, will they only do it if it's the state?
But they also do it when they do the Yankee homecoming race, because but that's going on,
That's on one,
that's on 113 also, yeah.
Kept it on 113 just for the blind people.
Yeah, it is what it is, we'll figure it out.
Aye.
Thank you. No, my pleasure. No, my pleasure. Thank you.
Yep. Give me a call sometime this week, we'll go over all the other stuff too.
Great, thank you. Will do. All right.
You too?
We're now up to XV item.
Hey Jen, remind me to talk to you about something before you leave. That just reminded me.
Yes?
And I asked Aaron to write out some special article request forms for licenses. One is an article on the first 6 months of the cost of town managers. We don't know exactly what that would be. I would just take the high end of the salary divided by 2 for the 6 months.
Add.
And Medicare, health insurance costs. So I actually asked Amy what that number is. We came up with $100. So I would have an article funded from free cash in that amount. And if we don't use it, it just goes back to free cash.
I thought 90, but
Here's his.
$222,000 a year. It is what it is, we can fill
Yeah, 77, it's 155,000 is 77,500 in salary, and there's 11 or 1,200 Medicare costs. The big thing is health insurance is like 20 grand.
yeah, but that's the total cost.
I think that's the goal.
So this will be just a special article to pay
This 6
town
months.
managers
Up until the,
salary and expenses.
And because we already have the finance director on the tax rate, so then the finance director can off the tax rate this go on for fiscal 19.
But health insurance, there's no way health insurance is.
can we figure out that number?
No, but it's way wrong. It's.
Well, I just went
hel-
by what Andy
I
said,
know,
so
but
I'm
it,
like, this-
20,000 is for a whole year, and we don't pay the whole thing.
No, yeah, it's only 65.
It's like, it's
But it
way
might be
less
what
than
we have
that.
to budget for.
It is what it is, so let's get the article
Let's
written,
write the article.
and it's not until.
Okay.
Change the amount.
Okay.
I mean, he'll be
Is
here.
that it?
The other article is an article to establish, and I think we have to have this start the process now. An article to establish a water district.
Oh, right, okay.
On both lakes.
Perfect.
And that was the one that.
Right, okay, yeah.
Yeah, anything else?
And don't we want to include the additional part of the well field that's not covered?
Sure,
Okay,
yes.
anything else?
So we have 3.
I would,
We have 3 articles, marijuana, water, both places.
so far, I'd like to have another one, selectman sponsored, about doing something with the sign out front.
I would too, but
We-
does that not
we
fall
keep-
under what we said of having things that can't wait till.
Unless, no, because unless it's a complete emergency, I guess it's not a complete emergency, but I've driven by that thing and now I'm starting to get complaints, and I was a big advocate not to do anything. The numbers, the sun, they're all shriveled, you can't see anything, you can't do anything, and just tear it down then, because it's or just leave it blank. It's irritating more people because you can't read anything, and they think it's one thing and it's another thing, and they mess up times. So then my suggestion is, don't put anything up there anymore.
I mean, I'm in favor of a new sign.
And now we're getting signs over here, we're getting signs everywhere, we're talking about signs, and then like the band sign, it's in the lobby. It's just, I would say that we work on this.
There's a song like that.
So that's what I would ask. If you feel that it's
I
not.
wasn't the big advocate.
I understand. If you feel
I was on board with it 10 years ago. And
Okay, so, but honestly, if you feel that way, Joe,
Pull out my old,
Joe, it's probably.
No, I don't feel that.
But I mean, you might be right, but I would like to do it.
Are you thinking of just replacing the deficit ad, or?
well, for the electronic sign,
Yeah.
you take out what's there, you take out the tile, and put in about the same size electronic sign, which will have two lines, that, you know, that you can put on.
Maybe 3.
What?
Maybe 3.
There's only so much you can read when
That's
you're driving by.
And it needs to be big.
like one of those big, nice ones on 93.
We doing it fall or spring?
Like picture of Mohegan Sun and
Fall.
stuff.
So,
But I hear the chief wants to do something over there too with a donation. I think.
one sign.
Okay, then we need to have a discussion with this. I personally.
So I don't know anything about this. What's that?
There is a foundation that wants to pay for a sign or a lot of this, a lot of the sign for something in front of the public safety building. I believe that having one over there and one here is not too many, not in this day and age. It's going to take away from all these ridiculously horrible signs that we have around town.
Oh, so you don't have a problem with 2?
No.
I really have.
I had a problem with 1, now I don't have a problem with 2. I've moved on, honestly, because they can be dealt.
I go back to, you know, we did that town manager research stuff, so we had all these people come in, they told us that we don't communicate well enough, and that's because we do communicate, but they just don't look at what we communicate. So they kind of ranked ways to communicate. Signs in front of the building, to my surprise, because I thought they were very valuable, very low on the list. So we'd have to think about it.
Well, then then let's have a discussion with the chief because they might be doing something over there. But I don't want to have one sign. Yeah, they can.
Interesting.
We give him.
The chief controls the building.
To control the land?
You can't, yeah.
Well, I know, knowing that I don't even.
No, I know, but you just said an absolute statement. So whatever. So then you know what? Let's work on it and let's talk about it. But and then maybe we don't get it done by fall because we walk with the chief. But one thing I do not want is to have one sign over there, and then us over here giving them over there information, and then creating a whole position over there of somebody who just needs to updo the sign. That scares me. No, because that has been proposed. Oh no, we'll take care of it. So then all of a sudden, everything goes over there, which is, then all of a sudden, you know, it justifies 5 or 6 more hours because they have it on somebody's or somebody else. So that's what I don't want.
Okay, I mean, I really want one, but do we want to be going
Route
against
1?
our, no, do we want to go against our policy that this is only emergencies and stuff like that? Being kind of,
What do you mean?
It's not,
okay.
it's not an emergency, no. That's what I sent out in an email. Yeah, that's tough to do.
Well,
I thought so.
that's why we make the big money.
That's right. Okay, well, let's talk about it.
Okay.
We don't have to do it now.
Appointments.
Move to appoint Robert Phillips to the River Access Committee for a term through June 30th.
Let's do, go ahead.
Steve Reeson is not.
He what?
He doesn't have his certificate.
Second on Robert Phillips.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
There's Elizabeth County that says 2017, so you said that. I move to appoint Elizabeth County to the Energy Advisory Committee for June 30th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
I have a question, Mr. Chairman. planning board brought up, about 2 months ago, the town, zoning bylaw that refers to the planning board acting as a special permit granting authority, section 8A2, and that they have to make a nomination to us, but according to what they sent us, it says the planning board shall provide the board of selectmen with the nomination of no less than 2 names at least 30 days prior to the appointment. I don't believe we received 2 names.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we, Cindy, is it Sauter? Associate Planning Board member. Term ending, June 30th, 2018.
Second for discussion. Mary, you sent that to them, right? And did you hear back from them, or?
Yeah, that they recommend Cindy.
Okay.
Again, I sent them the 2 that submitted an application. So it was only the 2.
Well, that's the 2 that had come into us. They're free to go out.
Well, that's true. Yeah, I just got the 1 back.
But if there isn't 2, there isn't 2.
If there isn't, there isn't.
Yeah.
They're agreeing to this. Okay.
Move it.
It's been seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You'll vote what? Present.
Blast from the past.
I don't really know what
Okay.
that is.
The
Yeah, either way, but it used to go on a lot around here.
Okay. So we've got
about
no
Michael
more.
Welch?
No more.
Make a motion to nominate Michael Welch
But
to the Mill Pond Committee.
Who's he replacing? The Mill Pond Committee has a number of people that are appointed to that committee, so who's going on, who's replacing?
I didn't bring that with me tonight.
She's saying there might not be a space.
It was a recommendation
Is
from
there
the
a
Mill
number
Pond.
is there a number not to exceed on the Mill Pond Committee?
There's a number.
Yeah, I think it's.
There's so many,
Associate members.
associates.
I'm getting there. I'm almost there, and I think
What's her
they
name?
have the 7 to 9.
What's her name come off? Middle
Charlie
Street.
Reynolds?
Oh, I know Charlie Reynolds did.
I don't know if he did. Did he come off?
What about the realtor? Oh, Deb Hamilton. Did she come off?
Shit about my laptop.
Okay.
I don't
Can we
remember.
move on this?
Oh.
Do you care about this? I mean, I care about it, but if we don't have information, we can't do anything. Joe has a question. So we have to put it off until next.
All right. Let's put it off.
There
Yeah.
was a recommendation from Ryan Goodwood, who's the chairman. So, but okay.
So let's just vote it, and if there, with the stipulation to make sure, if there's a position, there's a position. If there's not, there's not.
Okay, so we'll vote it with the stipulation that if there is a vacancy, if there's not a vacancy, then the vote doesn't count.
Correct.
Okay.
And now, do we know that it's a full member? It's a full membership,
Yeah,
right?
it's a full member.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Aye.
Brad Busher for Reagan.
Now, is he on the open space committee?
He says here right now, and he wants to be a full member.
No, he's not on it anymore. His term expired.
Or he was an associate last year.
So
Yeah.
last year, so his term expired, so he's nothing. So don't we appoint him before, and then he gets his COI?
Well, he was an alternate, and he never got a COI, so we're still waiting.
It's kind of weird that he's not.
I see Glenn's point.
Yeah,
Like,
you can't ask.
why do I
somebody
have to do
something
it if I'm not even?
appointed?
Well,
Yeah.
okay, but yes, then we're appointing him to a 1-year position, and he never goes against it, he's appointed to a 1-year position for 3 times.
That's a good point.
Okay.
I mean, I don't have any problem.
I understand. I see your point.
I'm a member of the committee, but, you know, he said,
Enough's enough.
Okay. Let's
Right.
move, all right, let's
So
move on.
I've
No,
got,
but I didn't mean by that, but enough's enough. We've tried, he didn't do it, so now he needs to have it.
and I've been in contact with them. I've sent them, I think, 3 emails at this point.
Okay.
I'm a member of the investment policy committee that was recommended by Nicolina. And so I called the gentleman to talk to him. He has experience, investment management experience, so he sounded like a good fit. So I like to recommend him to the committee. He lives on Kimball Road, with the same name as another member of the community, but this is Chris Wild on Kimball Road.
Second.
But do we have any kind of application?
Yes, Mary.
Oh, it does, okay.
For a term ending June 30th,
20.
Chris, W-I-L-D.
2020 expiration?
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Make a motion to approve the invoice warrant?
I just wanted to make a note, oh, I thought you were doing the meeting minutes, I'm sorry.
I know, I just realized I skipped.
So which, okay,
Well,
go back to that in a second.
I know, I have my check mark for some reason.
So in the appointments, can we go back to the appointments for a moment? So Margaret Spalding, I've tried to get in contact with her regarding the Walnut Hill Cemetery. Anyone know her? Or?
Oh, you mean as the grave officer?
Yeah, I've been trying to. I've left 2 messages. Do we want to? Is that just a yearly appointment that we do?
I'll work on that with you.
Okay.
Call me tomorrow. I'll work on that. I'll find out how to get a hold of it.
So Ron invoice wants that.
Is what?
Ron invoice wants that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the world that I work in, if there's a bill to be paid, you have to have an invoice. In other words, if American Express says pay me $200, I don't pay American Express $200 unless they send me a bill of what it's for.
Well, I would, because it's probably going to the Ukraine.
So somebody filling out an expense report with no attachment of a bill would fall in that grade. That same logic.
Yes. I mean, anything. If you have a gas receipt, you have to have it.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would move to approve the invoice warrants less that one invoice for $200 unless there's an invoice provided.
Correct. I agree with that.
The rest of these are signatures.
Okay. What's that one?
Refund for parks.
And what's the answer? I wrote a question mark.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else? All in favor? Aye.
That's with that.
With that exception.
I'll hold it to the side, maybe, so it doesn't get.
So it's a $200
Why don't we hold it to the side?
invoice to the post office.
To the post office.
It just says reimburse the post office. Yeah. Do not pass go. Do not pass the post office.
So this is the one we have in question. So that goes back to you, and we'll give that to you at the end of the night.
Okay.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Abstain. Another thing, can you make sure that you talk to the accounting department on that invoice? Maybe she's got things already keyed up, you know what I mean? I don't know.
That it just automatically,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
we generally always just, we've never done, we've
Right.
done this before, but it's been
Okay,
a long
we're good.
time. So
We got
she
four,
might
right?
be ahead of the
Where's your
game,
five?
trying to get it all keyed up, and
Okay.
that could just go out. So specifically, you have to
Seven.
walk that over and say,
That's right.
there is a hold on this.
That's why I
She might have it all ready to go and just do it
And
anyway.
it is in there, yeah.
Yeah, because it just, we always say yes. So physically, the first thing in the morning, you need to say, this is a hold.
Yeah, even if it's keyed up, if she prints the check, it's just on hold until,
Yeah, but it needs,
and it can be voided if it.
it is what it is. Okay, thank you.
Hey, yeah, but he didn't want, is there other Josh ones? Oh, okay, okay.
This is piece two. No, I understand.
Okay, the minutes, we have minutes.
Make a motion to accept the minutes of May 1st.
I did finish those, but I don't have the May 15th complete yet.
Okay, I would, my only correction on the May 1st one, to the effect that it said we try to pay 50,000 in the pension, into the pension fund. Well, 50,000 extra, it's not, just add the word extra after 50,000.
I made the motion, I'll take that amendment.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And that was the May 1st.
The 15th, anything on future agenda?
The only thing I have is when the time permits, obviously, that would not be a night like tonight, it's, the bicentennial.
Yeah, I had, Mary's, I talked with her about that, and they're still accumulating their info on.
They got a large response from their email they've sent out.
Good.
And so they're trying to still pull everything
Can
together.
you ask them that we want to see them sooner than later, but we understand that they have a big hill to climb with that,
But we still want to get a schedule,
yeah,
yeah.
but we want to see them probably, one of our meetings in the beginning of September.
Beginning of September?
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah,
People are on vacation and stuff.
yeah.
They are making work requests in 2019.
Yes.
Oh, are they already?
Now, wait a minute, so that kind of is contradictory to what they're telling you.
Well, what they did was.
No, they know things are gonna
They're just-
happen, they don't know
they're
what they're gonna do. They just wanna make sure that.
What they did was they asked if there was anything major that goes on at that time of year. So that's what they were kind of looking at.
They don't wanna have to fight with Sally's birthday party.
We penciled it in, and they wanted to know if there was anything major that went on.
That was smart.
And that's all. So it was a preliminary, and we did pencil them in.
We have to clear the airspace
Something
for
I'd like to
helicopters.
be on the
Exactly. Exactly.
And drone.
Future agenda, I would like to have, this kind of goes back to not our goals, but we're gonna have a new position. We have talked about reorganization, physical reorganization, and personnel reorganization of this building. I wanna have at some point, have a real good working meeting about what we think this is all gonna be, and if we're gonna move things around, or do we wait? We talked about this. Or do we wait for the new finance person to come in and get their recommendations? But I think there are some uses that in square footage in this building that's not being used properly, and it could be changed. We keep on talking about that, but we never seem to get from point A to point B. Say it again?
Let's talk sooner versus later.
Yeah, I think we should. There should be some discussion. Because I don't want this is my fear. A new town manager starts. Then we reorganize people in this building, and that person is to blame for that. It's just a mental thing for people, rather than us. You know what I mean?
No, I think we should.
Then it's a bad thing. I've had this office, or I've sat here for 5. You know what I mean by that?
Yeah, no, we should do the starting point, both.
Yeah.
Like,
That's all. We just keep on talking. We've talked about it, but it's kind of okay.
And then let the person have a year.
Exactly. Make a motion to adjourn.
Hang on, I want to announce so we have a, just if there's any kind of publicity we can generate, there's a essay contest by the Mass Municipal Association, and the starting sentences is, if I were elected a leader of my community, I would make a difference by. And so it's a contest for 8th graders and an inaugural poster contest for 3rd graders. The initiatives have been created to raise public awareness and promote attributes of good government, encourage the future leaders of Massachusetts to take an active interest in their hometown government. Correct.
I think that's you.
I think it's us,
That's
yeah.
why.
It just says, what communities where is your, what is your school, and so, I'll fill it out.
If we can put that
Okay.
on the website, that would be good too.
I'd like to, yeah, it's okay. Put it on the website as well.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. We have two.
All concerns are taken seriously, and as Archie stated tonight, that we informed the police about that, and that Archie's going to have a future conversation with the police pertaining to that letter. Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.